All right, I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. There we go. Jeez. What the hell, OBS? Failing me already. Let me make sure this is also right. Okay, there we go. Yeah, all right. Hey, everyone. We got no glasses, Mansant, today because I have a pimple caused by, wearing glasses for one. So we're wearing my old contacts that are from, like 2 prescriptions ago when I just bought, like, hundreds of contacts. I thought that'd be my thing. So a little blurry on the edges today. That's fine. That's fine. The computer's like 2 inches away from me anyway. That's why I need glasses in the first place. What's up, though? Tons of people. Thanks for letting me know. Everything's muted. A couple things to go over before we jump into the... Unfortunately, just a tier list stream. I feel like everyone's doing those these days. It's a hot topic. I get it. But literally last night, when I was planning this, Nathan goes live. Nathan from the Card Guys. And he does a tier list, and his is interesting. That's for one. And then this morning, I wake up, and M&R put out a tier list. It's like, what? Come on, like, I'm just old news now. But hopefully there is something unique that we can add today, because it's not just me talking out of my ass about the tier list. Team Runaways is the testing team I've joined for national season, and they are pretty damn serious. I mean, Dan Rakowski, Yanji Lee, Lucas Oswald, to name a few, Pat Eshke, Cody Williams, yada yada. Great team, great players, and they put in a lot of work already. And while I may just be a Levia one-trick, there's a lot of other perspectives in the team that matter a lot. So we've got Lucas and also Yanji to join us today and go over the tier list, so it's not just me echo chambering myself with every bit of Levia testing that I've done and pretty much ignoring everything else. But, you know, that's okay. I get a pass because I'm not even playing at Battle Hardened Cincy. I unfortunately... Well, I don't know. Is it unfortunate? Okay. Let me make a poll about this, because I've been feeling a certain way. Let me make a poll real quick. Is it an unfortunate thing or a fortunate thing that I am streaming the event and not getting to play? What would be more exciting for the general audience? That I play Levia at Battle Hardened Cincy, or that I bring you coverage? Those are 2 very exciting things. What's the better outcome? This is a hard one. It's hard to juggle for me internally as well. That I stream Cincy, that I play Levia at Cincy. Alright, everyone has to answer. Alright, just be honest. Be honest. I still think bringing the community coverage is more important. Because once again, if I didn't do this, which I've now been doing for over a year, if I didn't go out of my way and try to stream these events, then they would just be lost to all time. And that is just a crime. It's a crime against flesh and blood. And Cincinnati itself, very important one, because it's the first Dusk Till Dawn event. Everyone has tons of questions. We need to see what happens when Michael Hamilton is on Levia. He's confirmed on Levia this event. Pat Eshke from the team is on Levia. Lucas Oswald from the team is on Levia. I mean, we got big names finally playing Levia. It doesn't need to be me, I guess. We can just do the coverage. And that way we catch all the good people actually playing the game. See, there you go. All right, people are backing me up in my decision. That's good. That's good. Although it was good either way. I just wanted to know. Let me... Oh my god. This, like, makes it so I can't see chat when I put it up there. Sorry, 1 second. Let me catch up. What's up, Nighttime Fab? Okay, both is not possible. It is already barely possible to actually run production and cast, which I've tried a couple times. That's just not possible. To stream it and play it, the show's not about me, after all. You know, the production company is its own thing now. Coverage is its own beast. You want to watch just me play Levia on stream at Cincy. I was thinking about that for the Sunday event. If it was a Classic Constructed or even like a Blitz PTI event on Sunday, I could just leave the stream stuff up, but then just make it my table and just hang out. And, you know, not do casting. I mean, I didn't pay for a second day of casting anyway. So I could just hang out. We could do games, and that'd be chill. But unfortunately, Sunday is a Monarch sealed event, and I don't super care about streaming that, so I'm going to go off and record some stuff with 3 floating instead, which is a better use of time anyway. Monarch is cool, but I don't need to spend $40 to potentially, you know, open bad cards. No thank you. Prism Pile is the format for sealed anyway. It's fine. We'll get you playing Levia at Chicago. Yep. I mean, I literally went out of my way and bought plane tickets, hotels, all that for Chicago just because I want to play Levia. I really shouldn't be doing that right now financially, but Levia has quite an allure, you know? Speaking of Levia, check this out. Speaking of Levia, look at this. Look at this shirt. Beautiful shirt. That is one of the League of Levia shirts. Now live. Here's the other one. They finally came in. They are soft. They are beautiful. Look at this one. You can see the full res of the art on the merch shop that is now live. Vynnset merch. But they finally came in, and we no longer have placeholder pictures on the website, which is cool. Because those generated ones don't quite match. Oops, that is very zoomed in. They don't quite match how they came out. The print is bigger, and I like it. Okay, anyway, let's close this poll. Okay, here's the deal. The whole streaming stuff, I still just do it for fun, right? Going to these events and streaming them, I have found is more fulfilling than just showing up and like trying to have fun with Levia and getting tilted off the face of the planet. That's what used to happen, right? But now, in theory, I could go to these events and play Levia and actually have an amazing time and probably top, because the deck is much better, and I would no longer be cursed with the X2 bubble. That has been my doom for like the past 3 Battle Hardens. So that's the difference now, is for me, it's just an excuse to travel and go and have fun, and streaming it is actually pretty fun. I get to perfect my craft, learn a lot of new things every time, just hang out, low stress environment. Well, that's not true. It is very stressful. So it is still just like a for fun project, but it's becoming a self-sustaining project, which if it can reach that pretty consistently and just constantly be like a self-funded stream because of sponsors, then that is kind of the perfect scenario. There's almost no world where the coverage makes money. These events are, only 2K prize pool. They're tiny. So there isn't that much like outside interest, but if they can at least become self-sustaining, like the caster budget's paid for, some of my costs get covered at the end of it, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. Because it is very hard to go to a Battle Hardened and break even as a player unless you get first. So if I can go and stream and break even and bring coverage, then that's a perfect world. So we'll see. This weekend's a big test for that. So let me show you actually kind of what we're looking at. Battle Hardened Cincy is what we're talking about, if you weren't aware. Technically, the event it's at, SEGCon, starts tomorrow. But the Battle Hardened itself will start on Saturday, 9:30 a.m., Classic Constructed Dusk Till Dawn release event, right? Hugely exciting. Like I mentioned before, even Michael freaking Hamilton is on Levia. Even Michael Hamilton is on Levia. If that doesn't tell you how exciting this event is going to be, I don't know what to tell you. That is, I'm going to flip. If we get him on cam, and of course I'm going to pull him on cam, you bet. Even if he says no, I'll grab him by the freaking tooth. We are going to get, maybe this is what happens at Cincy. Maybe every round is just a new high-level player on Levia. So we can just farm people's skill level at Levia on camera. I just want to see it, I'm interested now because it just never happens. But what if round 1, Pat Eschke on Levia, round 2, Michael Hamilton on Levia, round 3, Lucas Oswald on Levia, round 4, we find someone else big name in the crowd, who knows? And just go on and on every Swiss round. That'd be fun. I don't know if I can really get away with that. We'll see what the casters want. But it is my show at the end of the day. It's my show. So anyway, Battle Hardened Cincy is what's upcoming. If you want to make sure that you're notified on how to find the stream, it is no longer on the Vynnset channel. I've divvied it up. The company is not mine exclusively. I'm partnered with Nathan Dolman of Savage Land News, and the two of us created Savage Feats, play on the card Savage Feast, and you can find the broadcast there at the production company's YouTube channel. You can just click live, click notify me, and then boom, Battle Hardened Cincy will be yours for the viewing, 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. So make sure it's even in the description. Make sure you go to that channel. I divvied it up because there were potential conflicts if it was my brand, just me running the show, yada yada. Because that was never the idea. I didn't want to like own it at face value that much. You know, I was behind the scenes on most of these shows, and now I'm truly behind the scenes as it should be. So there's more, hopefully, like better partnerships to be had because of that. Anyway, we've got Battlehard Cincinnati. Go ahead, click the notification. The tier lists that you might have seen in the wild so far would be this one, M&R Cast. They just dropped one. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I was very pleased. Michael put Levia top of A. I think it's a little generous, but we'll get to that. The other one that happened last night was with Nathan. And let me tell you, Nathan is convinced of a meta that I don't think is very real, but we're going to get to that. This man is convinced Ice Lexi is the deck to beat. We'll see. We'll see. But for once, I actually have internal testing to talk about and pull from, rather than just me making things up about the Talishar ladder. So those are probably like the two main tier lists that you've seen so far. And then we're going to be making a new one today with the two additional people from Team Runaways, Yanji and Lucas Oswald. So I'm going to have to go pull them in real quick. Last plug, though, if you liked that t-shirt that you saw, or you liked some of the other goodies that I recently have put out, all this is commissioned art. I paid the artist very well for this because, for one, I had a job back then, and for two, love Levia and really wanted to get some good artists making quality stuff. So there is a League of Levia playmat, zones, no zones. There's the t-shirts. You can see like the woman fit, I guess. That's woman Sant. This one's me. You can see the full res art if you have any doubts. And then, unfortunately, the sleeves did sell out. Well, actually, that is fortunate for me. Thank you all. Sleeves went super quick. I do have a new batch of sleeves coming in probably like a week. But every time I reorder them, the design is different. So there's like a little bit of collectability to them. So there will be 2 new sleeve designs coming in like a week. I'll let everyone know when those are back up. But there you go. That's like the little merch shop that has been going really well. So thank you all for that. Thank you all for that. All right. In the meantime, let me get everyone set up. What is normal view? How do I crop this bottom part? Ooh, it's so ugly. Okay. Let me join the stream. Or rather the voice channel. Actually, hold up. Let me catch up with chat real quick, and then I'll join the voice channel. Stackswell's here. What up, yo? You better drive up those Levia prices. I want to see Doomsday at 200. Make a vid. Go for it. Please don't feature her too hard. You're yet to buy or deemed consumed, and the prices are already kind of high. We don't need price inflation. That is an interesting point. All right, between me and Stackswell, we're about to warp the entirety of these sets' early prices. All right? So we got to do some counter there. Maybe Stacks puts out a video and says Levia should be dirt cheap, and that way I can get away with featuring her all of coverage, and there won't be a conflict. If that works out, you know, just message me, Stacks. We'll set it up. Yeah, that would be unfortunate. I am also lending my max rarity Levia deck to probably either Lucas or Pat, whoever one wants it. Neither of them like playing with foils, but when you can play a fully foiled max rarity deck with Diabolic Offerings, full playset, extended art, with the Marvel Levia, I mean, come on, you do it, right? You do it. So hopefully one of them wants to run it, and that would be cool to catch because it's so blingy. It's beautiful, beautiful deck. You owe me a drink. Oh, Charles, we're gonna go hard, buddy. Our party won't stop at Vegas. Dragon Shield wishes they could move sleeves like Mansan. Yeah, I mean, they do make the customs, and then yeah, I mean, they're a good company. I wish them the best. They are a very valued partner. I love their sleeve quality. Thank you, Dragon Shield, for always being there, giving me discounts. I appreciate it. And if you want me to sponsor you harder and push any of your normal sleeves, I'll do it. I'll do it. You got new Buffy the Vampire sleeves? I could work on a campaign for that. I could. Your wife and I are going to open a case each, then going to most likely get singles. Yes. See, I actually wish I didn't buy any boxes for this set. For one, I pre-ordered with Team Covenant, and their pre-order promo is like a rainbow foiled Iris of Reality, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it's the new Prismatic, not Prismatic Shield, but the new like 2-cost one. I figured it would be like a playset type of promo, like you'll need 3 to kind of feel complete. So I ordered 3 boxes, and now I'm just going to end up with 3 one-of weapons for a class I have no interest in. So that feels a little bad, almost to the point where like I wish I just didn't buy boxes then, because I already ordered all of the Levia cards fully foiled from Hammurabi TCG. Shout out Hemmel, another great sponsor of the Savage Feats channel. And so I feel like that's it. Like I have everything. I actually don't need boxes at all. I have all the Levia cards max rarity already. I was given the Levia redeemed by LSS. I got the Diabolic offerings from other content creators. So like that's it. Why did I buy boxes? What am I hoping to get? I don't care about pulling marvels. But that's me specifically. For everyone else, I hope you all have fun opening boxes. It is a very beautiful set. Very beautiful set. You'd buy an Iris? Okay, perfect. We'll set it up. I don't want any of them. I want nothing. You're getting 2 cases at your store. You're having a crazy cracking party. Hoping for the Boltyn equip. Yeah, okay, because fair. There are 2 new pieces, 2 new L's you'd have to pull to explore everything with Boltyn. Okay, let's go. Let's join the room, and we'll intro Lucas and Yanji. We're not doing face cam today. It's a little too early in the morning for them, they said. So, here we go.
But if you have a non-attack, it should be fine.
Okay, hello?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, all right, let me make sure you're not too loud. Stream, let me know if they're too loud. This is still set up from John and Tommy, so I think it's probably fine. Do a little talking, Yanji. Introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Yanji. I make a lot of content that nobody likes to watch.
That's not true. I watch every single video.
You're a nobody.
Okay, yeah.
Got him.
All right, wow, very dry open. Nice one, Yanji. Glad to have you here. This is why no one watches your content, I guess.
I know,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
all right, what's up with you, Lucas? How do people know you?
nothing much. I'm Lucas. I'm the guy who almost tops a bunch of events. And then yeah, I help do some content sometimes.
That apparently always has poor audio.
I do always have poor audio. We're hoping to change that today.
We need to get you that juicy battle hardened win so you can walk home with like $200, and then you can buy a mic.
Yeah, he needs a microphone.
Yeah. Fight through all those rounds of people on Levia just to win like $200 or whatever it is. That's crazy.
Dude, we got the Levia mirror unlocked.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So let me share my screen with you all in the room here. Here we go. Like I said before, idea today being we're going to build our own tier list. I actually was very impressed with Michael Hamilton's specifically, so hopefully it's not just like straight repeat content. But, you know, he's actually pretty good at the game, so I think he did a good job. But that's all we're going to try to run through today. And I guess there's no particular order, but obviously when building a tier list, I think what it all comes down to crafting around is what is the deck to beat in the room, right? Because that's going to be the warper for, you know, whether or not, like if you're Nathan, whether or not Rhinar fits in as an S tier hero as well. Because if it somehow beats the deck to beat, then Rhinar is good regardless of all the other matchups in the room, right? So the deck to beat this format, we had a little bit of discussion on it. I think it's, a lot of people want to still say it's Lexi, right? A lot of people want to say this. But Yanji, you had a different opinion. What lead us into that opinion, my friend?
I think the best deck to beat is Briar.
That is hot. That is fresh and hot, because the tier list that we've seen mostly across the board has been like Lexi and Dromai. These two tend to be the ones floating around the top here. But I've not seen Briar even at top of A. I think she's kind of ended up around here. So why Briar? Why is this in contention?
I think if you look at the previous format and why Briar didn't do so hot, it was either because Iyslander was good or because I think Briar was like slightly losing into Lexi. So when we were testing for PT, I think we found that Briar could beat Lexi, but it was unlikely. Mostly just because the Lexi would end up being like a couple points ahead. But now that they banned what's it called? Bullseye bracers. I think that Lexi loses like just enough points because like the matchup wasn't like a cursed matchup. Like you don't just like straight up lose to Lexi's cards. You just like lose like a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's honestly something that I was obviously feeling with Levia. The matchup, whenever it went well, was still behind by like those just few points. And Briar, which is a more consistent deck in just pushing aggression, pushing hit effects and breakpoints. The loss of something like Bullseye was normally like 6 to 7 points of value, right? Being able to drop in like the endless push for that one extra turn ahead, like almost a carrying husk worth of advantage. So I could see that. I know you've been the one specifically testing a lot of Briar. Do you feel like you're in a vacuum with that opinion, or have other people corroborated what you're finding?
I haven't talked to a lot of people, but I think everyone's just busy playing the new stuff, and I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta play the old stuff. They messed up. They should have just given Briar like the 2 freebie Living Legend points.
Honestly, I thought behind the scenes, right? Like, what's actually stopping that from happening? They can just, I mean, they fudged the numbers that one time, supposedly by accident, which kept Prism around, right? So what's ever stopping them from doing that again, either on purpose or by accident, right? Like, there's 2 points is just such a small margin of error. Like, come on. But yeah, we do still have to deal with her, and she has gotten the Mischievous Meeps in theory. Have you actually found that card help the build at all, or are you kind of ignoring that and just running Anthem of Spring?
I was actually talking to Lucas about this. I don't know. The Meeps is really good when you're high rolling, and then a lot of the other times it's like a little bit inconsistent. So I'm deciding whether or not it belongs.
Interesting. Well, I'm still hesitant to say Briar can be the deck to beat, because she does stumble into the Runeblade. Oh no, can you even call the Runeblade problem a real issue? Lexi can have the same thing. Any deck can have that same thing. So if it's really just Iyslander and ice effects that would keep Briar in check, ooh, that's I don't know. I still can't call her S. What would you think, Lucas?
I can defend the masses real quick.
Yes.
So Lexi is the best deck. It's not particularly close. So the loss of Bullseye Bracers is a pretty big deal. I think, like you said, it often combines. I think it's important to clarify that it combines with Snapdragon Scalers usually to provide 6 or 7 points of value. By itself, it usually only actually evens out to like 3 or 4, which is still incredibly strong. But the new pieces of armor give you a little more flexibility. They're not quite as good, but you can block things like Snash a lot more comfortably now, which you couldn't do before. And then also with Oldhim gone, there is obviously a lot more room to play ice cards. And then we kind of started exploring it towards the end of last format, but cards like Winter's Bite, Icequake, things like that are just incredibly strong, especially against decks like Briar, Viserai, Vynnset, Katsu, who have such tight resource curves. If your hero power just gives you a free Frostbite every turn, it's quite disgusting. You look at something like Winter's Bite, it's often just a 2-for-1. They have to pitch an extra card to the Frostbite sometimes, and then they lose a card off the Winter's Bite. That's incredibly powerful, especially on your resource cards. She's super consistent because all of her resource cards are incredibly strong. Things like Codex, Rain Razors that pitch yellow are also her power cards. She blocks reasonably well for a deck with no armor. She has plenty of 3 blocks. She attacks super well. She plays good small hands with 3 of a kind. She plays good big hands with Rain Razors. There's not a whole lot of issues going on here. She doesn't really have any like bad matchups, right? Her quote unquote bad matchups are like 50-50s.
I would say the mention of Icequake and how
good battle hardened and a bright
we got a
future
text
for
to speech.
savage feats.
Martin Grange Hansen donating, I believe those are Danish crowns. 120 Danish crowns, I think. Here's to a good battle hardened and a bright future for savage feats. Thank you so much. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll see you in the chat, right? But here we go. So the scariest Lexi coming out of last format did go back to the Icequake use, like you mentioned. It was really Brody Spurlock, right? Just absolutely going on a tear in the last couple of events of the last format, and he was running the Icequake version of Lexi. I don't know if that really like warps what you're doing in deck building, but he had at least a couple copies that were putting in insane work, especially in the mirror.
I was playing that card first. Come on.
Yeah, but did you win like 3 battle hardens in a row? Come on.
I got 4th at that. What they call it. I got 4th at that other event.
But I think the strength of Lexi being able to add like the slight splashing of cards, like you mentioned, the Winter's Bite, the Icequake, which is probably more relevant now. Those cards make a deck that is normally pretty aggressive also have the just slightest bit of disruption to fight back a deck that could otherwise like race, given like they're playing on their cost curve correctly, you know, they're using their cards efficiently. When you add the little bit of tax to make cards just stumble a bit, the inefficient, like cards just get used inefficiently, that's how you start to lose points in the matchup and will fall behind. So I think, yeah, it's not like an Ice Lexi build that is really S tier in my head, which is more so what Nathan had been alluding to yesterday. It's the little splashing, the slight, extra copy of Red Icequake, the normal Winter's Bite that they're running anyway, on top of the power Lexi just has had since the get-go. It's still a very scary deck, and to go 3 wide on an Icequake turn is absolutely debilitating. For me, she's still the deck to beat, but is easier to have a potentially like fair game against, I guess. I feel like the games now almost feel like true flesh and blood. They get into single digits, can feel close, whereas previously some Lexi games were just, nightmare mode for a lot of these heroes. Mostly off the back of the room snaps and bracers would give to just not only get like 6-7 points of value, but it was like the extra hit effect, the extra momentum of like pushing through for endless to get more card advantage again, or an extra hit effect, whatever it was, and just roll for like a couple turns in a row. So I'm in agreement with Lucas. I think it's Lexi. What's your final rebuttal, Yanji? What?
We'll just see. We'll see at the event, I guess.
We'll see. Yeah, you did mention in testing that Lexi just doesn't feel that much fun to play anymore. Losing the snaps bracers lines like takes away from like kind of the big push you can on demand have with the deck.
It was also just boring before.
I don't think. For me, it's not about like how fun or like not fun a deck is to play.
True.
I think the problem that I have with Lexi is just that it seems that the matchups that are like a little bit skewed against you have like overall better matchup spreads. And we'll probably talk about that as we go down.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think that she struggles a little bit against decks that block pretty well, especially from armor. And I feel like a lot of the decks that people are trying now have like pretty good armor.
Yeah, that's going to be a question, right? With Lexi's not trying to build to beat Oldhim anymore, are they just going to lose to like a random deck that blocks 12 a turn? That could be a problem, because that is what Dorinthia and Rhinar, like in theory, could do right now. Bravo, I guess.
She gets a lot of room to take out the anti-fatigue tools, but taking out the anti-fatigue tools does come with a cost sometimes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So going into this weekend, I do expect for Cincy specifically, not everyone has the new cards yet, but if of course you had what was doing well in last meta and want a advantage going in, why not play Lexi still? I think it's still the deck to beat unless you've got like a ton of hours in practice in on like maybe Dromai is where I'd put like number 2. It's still Lexi for Cincy if you want to just win the whole thing. I would unfortunately think. But that leads me into Dromai. I think Dromai is a huge winner out of this format. Like the Oldhim matchup, you could beat it, but you could also throw it in a 2-hour game on camera in the Pro Tour. It was a hard match to play, and the Oldhims also were the ones that you kind of had to consistently answer how they were playing, so you could reactively try to beat that strategy. There wasn't just I'm going to go in with this one game plan against Oldhim and beat them because they're just going to fatigue me from the get-go. The Oldhim would be the one that actually has to ask the question that Dromai then answers. So you kind of, you just don't have that mental stress anymore of needing to worry about the Oldhim matchup, because it could be a nightmare, could be a long grindy one, and it was one you really had to think about. So Dromai, for me, I think probably top of A. It's my next pick, just because it should do well into Lexi, and the Dromai pilots have had a lot of time to play this deck, and now obviously they don't have to worry about the Oldhim match, and like the next heaviest popper deck in Bravo I don't know where Bravo sits yet, so I'm still pretty confident with Dromai kind of next in
Yeah,
the list.
we can hate on Bravo.
Yeah,
later.
but none of the Dromai pilots are good.
Yeah,
That's my hot take. Nah,
Yeah,
it's
so-
all jokes, but
Yeah, I mean, it is true, though, that one kind of limiting factor to Dromai is you do have to put a lot of reps in on the deck. And especially into a format like this, where even though we know Lexi will probably be the most represented deck and probably the deck that does the best, obviously we had some disagreements there, but that's most likely what will happen, I think. It's still going to be an incredibly diverse format. Battle Hardens always are, and with a new set with 4 fan favorite heroes and classes, like, we're going to have an extremely diverse meta. And so even if you are one of those Dromai players that has a lot of experience, you do have to know all of your matchups pretty well. And I just cannot imagine that basically any Dromai players will have gotten the reps in that they need against every deck.
Yeah.
So I think Dromai is a great Pro Tour deck if you can test for the couple good decks, but I mean, there are a lot of really, really strong heroes here that are going to come out of the woodwork that people aren't going to expect. And if you're not prepared on Dromai specifically, you're just going to get throttled.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. Like, can the Dromai players have their game plan ready for Vynnset and Levia? I don't think they need to care so much about the Boltyn and the Prism matchup. But yeah, even so, ooh, thank you. Oh, I got all my shiny Levia cards in the mail. Shout out to Hemmel. They're here already. Yeah, that's a great point. So do you think she's still top of A then, or because the player skill needs to be there and there just hasn't been time, she's not quite ready? What would you put top of A, rather?
I think she's in A, but I think she's towards the bottom. I think really, like, again, the biggest thing with Dromai is experience and play skill. And so I think that the best Dromai players will find a way. They always do. But there is just so much to adapt to. Because even the old decks that we've seen, things like Lexi, Uzuri, Azalea, they'll be changing their decks. Oldham's gone. Even the matchups that you thought you already knew, you don't know now. So I think she's a strong deck, but I think just by virtue of the way that she's strong, she'll probably be lower. And then we can talk about my top of A a little later. But
all right, that's a great point, because Dorinthia is also a deck that could run the cleave like axe version now, which I've heard some Dorinthias saying makes the Dromai matchup winnable, which is crazy to me. But
I thought
they're saying it.
That matchup was weird before, because it was kind of just whoever knew how you were supposed to play, I found always won. I don't know how it went when both players knew what they were doing. I never played it somebody who knew what they were doing.
I don't think we'll get those games this weekend necessarily. It'll be a lot of having fun this weekend. And there could be the deal where everyone just wants to play the new heroes because why not? But I feel almost like that's what Chicago will be. Battle Hardened Cincy is being on release weekend. Kind of like the general populace likely won't have all their cards yet, right? So for just showing up and having fun, I don't quite think this is the event for it yet. There's still going to be people who they want to go, but they don't have the cards yet, so they want to play what's best. So okay, let's buff out top of A then. Where did we want Briar, Yonji? If this like kind of splashing of light ice in Lexi is still the deck to beat in the room, is Briar fine enough into that? You said she gained enough percentage points, but I would think if you were losing to Frostbites because of the Iyslander matchup, then Briar should still be pretty bad.
That's not why you lose. Like you would just lose because they would like cycle their power cards, and then you would just lose out like slightly. Like you could still win off of like a channel heroic. I think now, also like Briar gets the new chest piece. I think having more armor is also pretty decent, because Lexi can't really go like 3 arrows wide without like an actual setup.
Yeah, I mean, you catch an Lexi on a 4-card hand, it's that there's a lot of room to breathe there, especially if you can shrug off an on-hit effect somewhere in the middle. So is Briar like top of your A then? I mean, in your head she's S, right?
Yeah, I think in my head, Briar and Lexi are both S.
No, that's not allowed. There's one S.
Why is that not allowed?
S is the deck to beat.
S is the deck to beat. Singular.
What if there's 2 decks to beat?
There is.
What about that chain Starvo Prism meta?
I think Starvo is the deck to beat.
Yeah.
Chain's the best.
Yeah, I still think it would have been Starvo at the top there.
Okay, fair enough.
Just the idea of like you need to like there's one deck that's a little bit more warping than all the rest in terms of there can be a lot of powerful decks. But
Yeah, I don't think that Briar is like the deck to beat, especially at least like not in the mental space of all the players.
Yeah, I think you can definitely think she's the best deck, but I think Lexi is absolutely the deck to beat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
good distinction. Good distinction.
That's fair. I agree with that.
Okay. So let's jump into one of the hot heroes already because we're buffing out the A list, and
this is where I would put my top of A.
Your top of A? I wouldn't even be that generous. I think like your average Levia got significantly better. Like your average Levia is no longer here, but it's probably like you can probably end up being pretty new to Levia, but as long as you are like cognizant of what she needs to do to win and what you need to manage, even if you're not a master at it, she's got enough safety nets now and enough like late game power and also just enough innate power drawing into like Blood Rush, Art of War. She's solidly like B, but I think if you play her really well, granted it's not like you can really be the meta warper because there's no on hits that you have to make other people answer for. At the end of the day, like people need to answer your damage and they need to answer that like life threshold to try to interrupt your flip. So I don't quite think everyone's ready to play Levia's game yet and really fight over making the Levia player significantly weaker by building their turns in a way to deny flipping, which I don't even know if that's like a real thing people can do necessarily, but in all the games I've had like online in testing so far, as the Levia player, I am constantly making decisions now on what is the turn cycle where I flip. Like what do I need to set up for that? Is it a block out and then flip turn? Is it a like block 6, return swing big turn? Is it like where am I putting my flip turn into my game plan now? And I don't know if anyone else is really thinking about that playing into Levia yet. So I think if you're a Levia that's kind of ahead of the curve and planning it well, she's definitely, I would say like middle A somewhere. A somewhere. She has her own inconsistencies still that are probably going to like punt a game enough that she can't really be at the top. But she's up there in a good player's hands, like the people who are playing her this weekend. Even with like the builds that are not entirely refined.
I think she's B because of the inconsistencies.
Okay, but you also play Levia very differently, Andrej. You literally roll every turn. As someone who rolls like maybe three times a game.
But even if you don't roll, like the deck has at least like 10 to 15 zero blocks that you like have to structure your turn around. Plus there there's some cards that are in Levia that you need to see at the beginning of the game, and then some cards that like you can see later on, and then if you like get a hand with like a bunch of the cards that you see in the middle of the game, like for example, like you can have a hand with like only like Graveling Growls and like cards that like need to banish, and then you just like don't have a graveyard, so your hand is just like unplayable.
I mean, after 2 years of Levia, I truly say like those hands only happen if you are kind of leaving yourself open for that lose con though. Like it really is about arsenal play.
What do you mean? You're just
Levia.
like no, but like what? Like your first hand, you go second, you just draw a hand. Like none of your cards are playable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's your first turn problem. Like Levia has that first turn problem just innately.
Yeah,
like,
but
try to go
like,
first so that you don't get stuck in that position, and you're pretty much okay from then on out. But even going second, fill the graveyard.
But I'm saying I don't think like a deck I don't think a deck can be A tier that has that problem though.
Yeah, but is it really a problem if you've got now more like power trade-off in your kit somewhere else in the game? I mean, decks are allowed to have like different phases, right? Like Levia's turn 1 can't be insane. She needs her graveyard. Does that really like drop her an entire tier? Yeah. It could also be crazy. You could also just open Blood Rush and drop 20 going second. Like that can happen too.
I agree. I think to me Levia has the potential now to be like as good as Briar on like a good day. But then I think like the fact that you can have a bad like draw where a lot of the other decks just like don't really have like Like they have like a bad turn as well, but I think like the percentage is just much lower to brick because their cards are like less defined in like when they're good or like the cards that they're good with. Like you take like a Lexi, like all of the Lexi cards are live pretty much like the
Yeah.
entire game.
Live.
Yeah, I
Alright.
would say there's okay. I think
Levia is great.
I think she's very
Yeah.
good. I would say I'd want to at least push her top of B, but that's the lowest I'd go.
Yeah,
I've been
think
talked
she's,
out
like,
of
a
middle
top
pack
B.
A. I've been talked out of middle of the pack A. That's fine.
I think she's a top of B, bottom of A.
Let's leave her bottom A because for once the queen has risen. We'll leave her there.
All right, okay, so we're not going to try to go further. We're just going to take what we can get.
Oh well, Lucas, I know that you will win Cincy on her. So
I was gonna say,
obviously
yeah, so-
she should be the deck to beat because you are going to be on her. Michael Hamlin's going to be on her. Like you need to not
Yeah.
only beat the deck now, you need to beat that player. It's just not
I
possible.
mean, three very, very good players will be playing Levia
Yes.
at Cincy, and at least two of those players believe in Levia. I don't know what Hamilton is doing. He might believe in her, but
He doesn't believe in the
I-
Lexi matchup, but he believes in her otherwise, which is interesting because I don't think it's
Okay.
I don't think it's
Okay.
an 07 type of matchup like he was testing.
no,
not
definitely
at all.
not.
But
But I think Levia is really good. I think Scabskin Leathers is one of the most underrated cards in the game. The ability to be losing a game and have this like win condition on the table that is just I'm losing a game, I can try to roll and get back in. It's really nice. She has incredibly powerful turns. She blocks like kind of comically well. For in terms of equipments.
oh,
Um,
insane. Yeah.
And
Well,
then, I mean,
'cause
the whole thing is just get a good start, right? If you can get a good start to the game, I think you usually win most games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think people don't know how to play against her. I think that there are some play patterns that people should be putting into action a little bit more, and I just can't imagine that people are going to do that. So I'm going to play Levia, and I'm going to
Yep.
top 8.
I truly think the card that is going to win you most of your games at Cincy is Scowling Fleshbag. I guarantee
card
you,
is
no
so
one is ready for the
Nope.
potential of that card. The ceiling
No.
of that card is insane. It is a baby husk in that
Yeah.
it blocks 2 guaranteed, and then at minimum, the card you're taking out aggressively is like around 4, right? But
I'm just-
it has a higher ceiling than that as well, because you could be pulling out like a CNC, right? 8 value, boom, out of a
Oh, yeah,
headpiece.
no,
It's insane.
I've
Insane.
played against Levias as like Katsus and stuff, and I start my turn with a Surging Strike, and then they fleshbag me and they hit my Descendant Gust Wave, and
Yep, there you go.
then like my turn's just over.
Yep, turn cycle lost.
Like
And
yeah,
you
and-
you can't give that room to Levia right now because she's got so many live hands.
Yep.
If she duds your turn like that, and then the Levia gets room to breathe, because it doesn't even need to be a Blood Rush turn right now. The game gets overwhelmingly just one-sided. Because Levia on the front foot gives her so much room to breathe now. Levia on the front foot means that you have choice over your consume flip more than ever, and you can even pivot into a redeemed game if you need to. If you kind of get the extra 2 turns, like 1, to just be the aggressor, then you normally ramp up enough blood debt that you now have the real choice. And it's not just like consume flip to win. You could go redeemed because you've got enough blood debt there. Not saying you likely ever do, but you all of a sudden gain more choice. Like the 1 turn cycle you win just opens Levia's doors and gives her something to actually care about. Because before, you could have a good turn. It's like, well, I'm still going to fucking die to blood debt. Like,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh gosh, she's such
Also-
a good deck now.
Yeah, and then just like tournament theory wise, like a Battle Hardened, it's a bit of a smaller event,
Yep.
fewer rounds. Those inconsistencies are less likely to bite you.
Mhm.
Obviously, you get more punished if they do, but just
Well, no,
just
the Battle Hardened curse for me is to go X2 on Levia. I've never done better than X2 with Levia at these Battle Hardens because of the like random blood debt loss that would happen and then like a bad matchup loss. And I think now with better matchups,
I don't know what the bad matchup is.
okay, I mean that's a little generous. She can still get rolled by aggro decks that just draw their hands and when you don't.
She can.
She is still gated damage-wise to race those decks by Blood Rush. That's just it's unfortunate truth.
that's
Like
fine,
you can't
Briar.
win an aggro match by just like playing Dreads and Endless Maws. Those cards are good, but you need like the spiky damage of Blood Rush to force them to trade so that you're now ahead because you like trading and they don't. is.
I think maybe with Flesh Flag you can't, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's into the weeds a little
I'm
bit.
here to snipe. I'm here to snipe Lucas and
True.
Michael. And I'm
Dude,
just playing Briar to
That's
beat
why you're on
Levia.
Briar.
We'll have a
exactly.
win in for top 8, and we'll stream it, and I'll win.
Absolutely.
Well, you'll have a win in, and then I'll be locked.
Yeah, Yanji will be undefeated. That's what it is.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay. I'm happy with. See, Lucas really hyped me up. Yanji trying to drag me down, but it's
Dude,
2-1 right now. We're back to middle of the pack.
Yeah, you'll be hyped up. You'll be hyped up.
Dude,
after
I'm okay putting Levia at the middle of the pack if you move Dromai to like C tier.
Oh yeah, we never let you on G make fun of Dromai, but
No, it's okay.
Dromai's
It's
rough.
okay.
Dromai's rough. Another one of the decks that really takes an L from Lexi being able to play more ice cards as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a big problem with putting Dromai high. I think Dromai on paper like should be good, but I think it's bad. It's bad for like tournament math. I think if you were playing like Flesh and Blood like ranked ladder, I think Dromai would be great. And all that mattered was like your overall win rate.
Mhm.
Whatever. I think it's fine, but I think like playing Dromai in an event where you need to go like X1 plus like try to win out top 8 is just like abysmal.
That's a great point, actually. At the Battle Hardened circuit, it's really like just Mara who makes it. And like nothing against like the big dragon players, but like that kind of deck is what Yanji's mentioning here that runs into problems.
There's also the issue of, since Prism exists and people know Dromai is super good, like those matchups that were always like close and then you kind of needed them to not draw poppers, like they're gonna have poppers now. Like you best believe that people that don't have poppers in their main deck are going to be sideboarding poppers for this event, so that also makes it harder.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think since we're talking about Cincy specifically, I could see Dromai dropping down. There are a lot of question marks. Let's just put her in top of B right now.
In D tier, man, don't worry about it.
No, there's no way. That would upset too many people. And truly, the deck, when played, like you mentioned, in a like well understood metagame, is insane.
It's very good.
It's a good call. It's a very good call. But for the Battle Hardened, yeah, definitely loses points, and that's what we're talking about. So fair. We'll put her B for now. Okay, Viserai. I know a lot of people have been hype recently. Michael said that he considers Viserai the best Runeblade right now. Is that off base, Yanji? I mean, you would kind of know here, I would think. Like, why is he? Why is he either here or just like a middle tier Runeblade, right?
I think Viserai is probably. So I think Viserai is worse than Briar into Lexi because, like, Viserai also had a kind of similar problem to Briar before, where like you just always lose by a bit. But Viserai, you lose to either them playing codexes or you lose to them playing like ice. And like if Briar gets ice, like I think Briar's like 2-card, 1-card hands are like less atrocious than Viserai's like 1 and 2-card hands. Where if you're like playing Viserai on like a 1-card hand, you're basically like passing the turn.
Yeah, well, it's like like Winter's Bite. Like they flip up a Winter's Bite. If you don't have Tunic counter, it turns over. Like you're just blocking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Viserai is solidly like a middle of the pack. He's like Mario or like Ryu or whatever. He's like Mario in Super Smash Brothers. He's just like the average guy.
The average guy. Well,
yeah.
I will say, as someone who has hated Viserai for a long time, because it was basically like the worst, at least in my finding, ever since they printed Revel, it became the worst Levi matchup, and it wasn't close. I would rather play literally anything else than sit there play against a Viserai that just like slams me with Arcane, denies Husk value, and just like basically puts me on a clock that was just nothing I could do. Like nothing I could really interact with, because in that kind of aggro matchup, you need to fill graveyard. Pitching an Arcane was just never the right way to, like, you can't. You need your graveyard for that. So the matchup was just so lopsided and uninteractive and gross, because you don't have on hits, they ignore you, they keep every 5-card hand, they slam you, Arcane denies any bit of value like you could ever hope to get out of Husk. It was an awful, miserable game. But in testing now, stopping Viserai's. So at least for the Levia POV, you've actually started to win what was a terrible matchup. So I don't know where he lands against like the other new heroes and what that spread used to look like, but at least this matchup is not free anymore. Viserai, be careful. It used to be free, not anymore.
Don't make me bust the Viserai out.
Well, yeah, don't. Just stay on Briar.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
shoot.
sure. Yeah, sure. I talked myself out of it already.
So what did you think then, Lucas? Like top of B ish?
Okay, so I'm a bit of a hater. I have my list written down here right in front of me. I have him in like top of C tier.
Top of C. Holy.
So my main problem with Viserai is outside of exactly Dromai, I don't really think that he's like targeting anything. I guess like Prism if people actually play that deck, right? But like I think he's just he's always to me felt like the aggro deck that's a little behind. Like he just like loses to Lexi, not even just by virtue of ice cards, just by virtue of not doing as much damage. He can lose to like Briar and ninjas for the same reason. He does have cash in now, which is I think kind of like an underrated upgrade. Like getting access to cash in was like a huge buff to Viserai that kind of went overlooked.
Well, until Zach Bun, right? Like now it's pretty popular.
Even then, I think like people were playing it. I think people just haven't been.
Dude,
like,
I'm so mad. I didn't top Auckland because I was like sleepy on day one, dude. All these people getting credit for things that I'm playing.
Don't worry, Yuanji.
Yeah,
We
it's okay. I don't know.
I can't put him that low. There's no way.
Not that good.
No, it's fine. I understand putting him in.
Put him in the bottom of B.
Okay.
I think he's middle B, bottom B. I have him in C tier. It's a bit of a personal bias. I've just never felt like he's particularly strong. But I think probably without bias, he is around middle of or bottom of B tier. He's just
Also like one of Viserai's best matchups before was Oldham.
Yeah.
So now like Oldham is not in the format anymore.
Yeah, you have to find a new reason to play Viserai.
One of Vis's best matchups was Oldham?
Yeah,
really?
that shit was free.
Matchup was close to
It was like actually free.
Yeah.
Like even after they banned Skeleta, like I like figured out like you just like figure out like the strategy. You just need to like do like a 9th play turn and like a cash in turn. And they just like can't kill you.
Yeah, they could never quite fatigue you and they could never quite race you.
Wow. Okay, I must have only really gathered data on that matchup from like locals.
Ethan, watch my. I have like one stream match against.
The Auckland stream is pretty crazy.
Against what's his name, Justin at calling Auckland. It's just like a straight stomp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dang, because locally, like in ProQuest, RTNs, whatever, at least in Upstate, my perception was Viserai couldn't beat Oldham, but that might have just been like middle tier players not being able to beat fatigue. Which is definitely
the general consensus. Yeah, the general consensus was definitely that Viserai was weakened to Oldham, but like if you played the matchup enough, especially towards the end with like the Oldham lists that were coming out, like that matchup was just very, very strong because they were just not having access to any tools that could disrupt you in a meaningful way.
Oh, crazy. People in chat have questions about that too. I truly never knew. I'll have to go back and watch your stream again, Yanji.
Yeah, just go watch the stream match.
Here, wait, we can find it. I love Ophidia.
They're doing it live.
Dude, shout out to Alan for this site. It's amazing.
Viserai, Oldham. No, that's min max. That's min max. Wait, was the calling stream? Yeah, actually, that's fair.
Look up Yuanji's name. I think it's. He only has a couple streams. Well, let's watch the Uzuri stream.
Yo, they just don't have it. It's not here.
Oh, here, let me.
Calling Auckland just doesn't exist.
Yeah. If you guys want to keep having your discussion, I can find it.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I hate on Viserai too. So as low as you'll let me put him, that's not quite C. That's where we'll leave him.
Dude, put him at the bottom of B. Put him in the top of C. I don't know. Like it doesn't matter. Okay. I think I don't think he sucks. Like I think the deck itself. Okay, so I think there's a distinction that has to get made in my mind. There's decks that are like complete decks or like good decks that like all the cards like make sense and like work together. I think all the cards in the deck, they're like fine, they like work together, but is it good? Some of the other heroes I think their cards don't necessarily all work together.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that gives Viserai the perception of like, doing more than he is, I guess. Okay, let's talk about the ninjas next real quick, because I think this is also something that's been a bit all over the place. Nathan's list had them like kind of top of A, like leading the pack, but I don't actually remember where they ended up on Michael Hamilton's. So I know internally, we were putting in some testing with Phi, and we're overall like a little bit just unimpressed. But the idea being, the ninjas have best access to the new Warmongers card, because they just have so much go again that you can potentially still present your damage. Your opponent is now either already committed, pretty face up to you because you're like 3 combat chains deep, whatever, of whether or not they want to like take the aggressive line this turn or not. And then you can drop Warmonger's Diplomacy rather than an attack at the very end, and really give them, not the same choice about their turn cycle that they could have had, right? Because if you were a different kind of deck and like needed to just play that as your turn, then they didn't waste any HP to make a bad decision now. So ninjas can in theory like abuse that card, but is it good enough, right? And I think what we had seen, at least initially, Phi didn't quite feel like he was taking full advantage, and because of that, why really play him unless you're looking to farm like the illusionist players, right? So I don't think he can really end up anywhere like higher than B. I almost want to put Phi C tier.
Yeah, I think
I'll
C
defend
tier
him.
is fine for Phi.
Yeah, so I think the problem with Phi is that like when he was really good, the reason that like the reason to play Ninja was like consistent damage and just like having the biggest numbers, which at the time it had, right? We're talking about like around Worlds time, as well as having just like explosive turns with no setup, which was like the way to beat Iyslander. But like in this format, the reason that ninjas are strong, or like their main advantage is mask momentum. It's really strong against Lexi, and then it's quite strong against some of the other aggressive decks, and obviously it's quite strong against Dromai. And Katsu is just so much better playing mask momentum. He's naturally built to play Kadachis. He generally goes like, he doesn't have access to Phoenix Flames, but he goes like 5 wide a little more often, and then when he's not going 5 wide, he's pushing other hit triggers with the surging line, and bonds as well. Also, in such a fast format, you kind of want to be like the fastest deck, and Phi and Katsu both have equipment pieces that let them go like super fast, being Mask of the Pouncing Links and Hardened Cross Trap.
Wait, how fast do you think the format is? I feel like the format's not that fast.
I think the format will end up being a fast defensive format, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think there will be any matchups that are like slow, but I do think that all of the matchups will be between like relatively aggressive decks.
So I think
generally there's enough hit effects this format that it can't just be a no blocks type of.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think there are any games where like you're getting like 3 tunic counters like anywhere.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but like 3 tunic counters is like super slow. But I think like, to speak on what you were saying, where like around Worlds when Phi was one of the best decks, one, it had Belittle Art of War, and then the other thing that was like true is that like I think Phi does the best when Mask of Pouncing Links is like one of the best equipments. And now that there's like new Carrion Husk decks, there's like decks like Lexi that just like slow you down. I don't know. It's like it's kind of hard for that card to be as strong as it was before. There's like more hit triggers.
So are we comfy then? Phi is just not quite there. Because the kind of list that we were trying to make work was adding in like the slight disruption of your own. Since Phi's raw numbers are just like not actually the best, then you needed the extra spice of potential disruption in the Warmonger's card, in like trying Censor, right? But it's just not quite there. Yeah,
the problem with Warmonger's Diplomacy is that like it's a tool, but like I don't think it ever actually swings any matchups. Like I thought potentially it would at the start, but like Lexi's just have a pretty easy fix to it, like stopping their hero power. Like they just pop their Snapdragon Scalers, and now that they don't have Bullseye Bracers, like that's just not a problem. And so you're really hoping that they have like multiple like Winter's Bites and 3 of a kinds in their hand, or in their arsenal, so you can like kind of get value there. But like generally, it's just kind of medium. Like it's a strong card, but I don't think it actually sways any matchups, which is what it needed to do for Fi to be like a top contender.
So what about Katsu using those tools? Is Katsu more of a defensive ninja, or is he more of a aggressive ninja still? Because the builds that were doing well at the Pro Tour, like the Polish build, for example, was built to just beat Lexi. You can have 3 turns where you just dump, bonds as a 0, like a 1-card 8, and just slam them and end the game. 3-turn clock was kind of the entire idea. But does that still work? Can you get away with being defensive now that Oldhim is gone? Like where does Katsu live?
So I don't think that being defensive is quite the best way to play Katsu. Flick-Flack is super strong, but outside of that, I don't really think that you have a whole lot of justification. Like the lines where you go like Kadachi, 1 for 5 with an on-hit trigger mask are just, I think, just a little too slow. Especially with a lot of the decks right now having armor, like it's just really easy to block, and then Lexi just kills you. But I think that the aggressive Katsu deck is real. It's a little bit inconsistent, but like when it does its thing, it's really strong. And into Lexi specifically, since you present so much damage in addition to on hits, you can kind of just overload them for sure. I think I'd put it like very bottom of A tier or top of B tier. I think the deck is quite strong. I'd probably put him at the top of B tier at the end of the day, just because he does have consistency issues and he doesn't block super well, which can be a weakness right now against decks like Lexi. But I think he's a good deck. And also, obviously, you can just like farm Dromais. Like if you're looking to play a deck that farms Dromais, I think Katsu is like one of the best ways to do that, because it farms Dromais and then it also has some good matchups outside of that.
Yeah, I think Katsu does better the fewer decks there are towards the top that have good armor.
Yeah.
The better
Briar
the
got a lot,
armor,
yeah.
like the better the armor is, like the worse Katsu gets. So like if let's say if Levia and Briar ends up being like both being terrible, like Katsu immediately gets much better. Because Katsu's not like a defensive deck, but like I think his power is that all of his turns are power turns if you like land the first hit. So then the opponent is like kind of incentivized to block. So if you can ignore that for like 2 turns with your armor, then you're kind of fine. Or like Lucas said, you like flesh bag him.
Yeah.
Yeah, my problem with seeing defensive Katsu working is if Briar and Levia are really that strong in A, those decks love it if you just kind of sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, I
like
think
they just absolutely walk you over. There's no way a defensive Katsu, like maybe you can fatigue out the Lexi because of flick-flack value blocking really well. Maybe that can cross the line. That's questionable though to begin with. But you do not get to execute that game plan against at minimum Briar and Levia. They just run you like. Do you want to just sit there, get slammed by like 20 plus damage turns, and then have Levia set up a 26 damage blood rush on a consume flip, and you just like you die? Like how do you block that? That it's just not there. You don't have enough armor. You can't like you could use a flick-flack and arsenal to try to push like the most value block you can, but then you're just gonna die to the like endless maw for 10 dominate next turn, whatever it is. Like Levia can just push you off of trying to sit there and do nothing so easily and so consistently now, because she won't just randomly die to blood debt in some kind of weird late game where she's running low on resources. She can control that part of the game now. So I can't see defensive Katsu being real with the A tier as it is. These guys want to see you just sit there and do nothing. So top of B, I think.
Defensive Katsu also just does not work into an open meta. Like that's a deck that you build to target a meta, and this meta is going to be like wide open.
Yep. If anything, as well, the aggressive Katsu, like you said, Yanji, about armor, Briar got the new chess piece, which she'll obviously run in that matchup, and then Levia got the new Scowling Flesh Bag. And that card is crazy into like the go-wide decks that want to have specific hands. So even aggro Katsu, maybe it can hit Lexi pretty well, but it's the same deal. Like it's actually running into issues here. So top of B, I think, makes sense. Okay, what about we've got Uzuri. I think there's enough on the board to really figure. Actually, hold on. Let's do Azalea next. Let's finish the Ranger and then talk about Uzuri. I actually think Azalea is. I haven't really seen it much. We haven't been, at least I haven't been testing into Azalea, but I kind of assume she's pretty scary right now. I don't know if I'm like super off base with that, but the builds that just stack tall go dominate, like they weren't contingent on needing bracers to win. It was an enabler for like a Boltyn shot type of turn, but it didn't execute, like it wasn't critical to their game plan of just stacking tall, dominate, hit effect, continue the onslaught, and just lock someone out of the game. So I feel like she wasn't hurt as bad as people initially said, but I could definitely be wrong about that.
Yeah, Azalea's... Go ahead.
So I think my initial instinct is almost bottom of A for me, but maybe B. I think I kind of want to put her here. No joke.
Yeah, so I think Azalea is actually like my biggest question mark for this format because she was like such a big winner from the Oldhim hit. Like that was just like an auto loss matchup that just doesn't exist anymore. And now all these other aggressive decks that she beat, it's like there was a triangle, right, with like Azalea, aggro decks, and Oldhim, and like now she just only has the aggro decks. But then she was like a really big loser from Dusk Till Dawn. Like Levia is not a particularly good matchup because they have so much armor block. Like Briar is like the Rune Blades get the new chest piece, which lets you block reds a lot easier. And then like Warmonger's Diplomacy just destroys you. So if anybody's playing that card, like that card's good against Lexi. That card is broken against Azalea. Yeah, like it's really hard to attack with an arrow if you get Diplomacy.
You can't activate your weapon, right?
You can activate your weapon, but like if you have an arsenal card and it's a non-attack, like your turn is literally like just pass. Like
I thought you can't activate your weapon and attack with an arrow.
I think Diplomacy says you can activate weapons and attack with attack action. So I believe that's what it says. We can check here. But you can't activate Cross Wrap. You can't activate Azalea. You can't play pumps. Your turn is just over.
If you choose War, the only actions they may play or activate are weapon and attack. Yeah. So
you can Death Dealer.
Oh my god! I thought it was a bigger hose.
No, that would just be devastating. I mean, it's still broken though. But like Levia is not a good matchup. Runeblade gets tools. Also, Lexi is going to be a little better against you now because ice cards are strong. So I really don't know. Like my instinct is to put her at the bottom of A tier because she has a historically strong Lexi matchup, and I think she's just like one of the most powerful decks.
Mm-hmm.
But like losing Bullseye Bracers was also I think is like actually quite problematic.
What was Bullseye really unlocking? Like, wasn't it just the Boltyn shot play, or was there something else you played for?
So like the strength of Azalea is not just going tall, because going tall is great until you whiff. You do need to have some number of turns that are just like you go like too wide. You know, for example, you play a pump, you play a Boltyn shot, you play like a Rain Razors, and then you codex back a Red in the Ledger, or you Bullseye Bracer and a Red in the Ledger, or Remorseless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you do need to push damage at some point. Because not all of your hands can be, not all your dominate hands can just be like 15 dominate Red in the Ledger on hit inertia double blood rot, right?
Unless you're Brody, yeah.
Sure. But like losing Bullseye is big for those turns. One thing as well was Bullseye was kind of the safety net where your turns would be contingent on attacking with a Bullseye or with a Boltyn shot, like you said, and then you'd have like 2 cards in hand. You know, you'd have like a pump and an arrow. And then your opponent would just, if they, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. If they block, you just Bullseye in your arrow, and then you punish them because they blocked the not real hit trigger.
Oh, that's super fair. Yeah.
But now, like, they can just block the Boltyn shot.
Yeah.
Every time.
Oh, actually, that's hugely important. I think I've been baited by that multiple times, actually. Like the bracers pulls in the sleep dart, and like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, it's a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just like enabling your turns. It actually just lets your opponent block all your bullet shots.
Yeah.
Also, unlike Lexi, I think Azalea had like a little easier time playing like Perch Grapplers already. So she already had like that first armor block that lets you block stuff like Snatch. So the second armor block doesn't give her as much of a big edge. It gives you like access to block Command and Conquer, I guess, is like the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well,
But,
it also has a minor synergy over Lexi being able to look at if you're running like Hornet Sting, right?
Yes, being able to,
in-
to see the arrows on top.
In Lexi, it was just a damage. In Azalea, it's now ability to potentially flip in, right? So, or know the Death Dealer draw. Like there's minor synergies on that front. Although maybe they end up running Toxic Tips. Who knows? To just be able to crack it on a Dominate, deal an extra 2.
It's really close.
Close. But yeah, I still think I am terrified of a good pilot on Azalea.
Yeah, she is so powerful.
Yeah.
Like she is one of the most powerful decks in the format, and like when she's rolling hot, like she is just disgusting. But like I said, there's just too many questions for me to give like a definitive answer. I'm going to be watching Azalea closely the next couple of weeks because she lost so much and gained so much.
Yeah, we'll see, because Cincy might not be the best event to really gauge the actual power level of like the Azalea and albeit like Riptide players, because they seem, at least from Twitter, to be a little peeved about the Bracers ban that obviously was to hit Lexi, but then had a little bit of collateral on like their heroes.
Yeah, it's about time that Lexi was the reason for the collateral and not the target for the collateral damage.
And so because of that, I think maybe some diehards might just not be super excited to play her, like in this debut event, first time playing Outsiders, and my hero lost a card rather than gained anything. So I still think, like we said, very strong. The deck does really insanely good plays, hit effects for days, and lost its bad matchup in Oldhim. But I don't think the excitement is quite there to have her get results this weekend. But yeah. Oh, so that kind of conflicts with how we were building the tier list then, because if it's just based on this weekend, then she's probably a little lower.
Yeah, I probably put her in B.
Yeah.
I think she also is going to be kind of weak against all the people trying Vynnset and Levia out, because I feel like Karen Husk has to be pretty good into
Husk is rough.
Okay,
like you go like 12 dominate red in the ledger, and they just like block with one card.
So in that case, what's top of B? I think since we're trying to base it on Cincy more than anything right here, this is not a developed meta. This is just like the day 0 meta. Is it Katsu or Azalea kind of taking the lead?
I think it's still Azalea.
Katsu on top.
But I think they're like neck and neck. Honestly, I think for both decks it just depends on what you play against.
Yeah, that's super fair. I think let's just have Azalea there because we had her bottom of A, so it just makes sense she falls in line. Okay, so now I think it's time to place Uzuri, because Uzuri, at least in the last meta, was there to try to eat the Rangers. And now we're in a metagame where the Rangers are like relatively at the top, obviously, and there is no Oldhim, and Dromai might not even be. I mean, we'll see. People will play their Illusionist, right? But if Uzuri needs to dedicate an entire sideboard into a matchup now, it's no longer Oldhim. It could maybe be Dromai. I don't know if that actually makes the matchup winnable, but they can. Smart Uzuri players can at least dedicate literally their entire sideboard to try to beat this matchup, and they're not that punished for it because there isn't like the other auto loss in the room.
I found reasonable success with that strategy of just like dedicating your whole board to Dromai as Uzuri. There are like a lot of tools that you have to make the matchup playable. It's never like great, but I think you can get it close to like 50-50 against like Redline Dromai.
Oh yeah, I mean Big Dragon,
Big Dragon's
do that.
Pretty rough.
Yeah. But if we're talking about Cincy, I don't think that'll be the popular Dromai build. So Uzuri as a play like for this day 0 Cincy meta, I think is actually pretty strong. Because the idea of being like a disruptive deck that's constantly just barraging your opponent with these isolate effects. Sure, it's weaker into Levia. That matchup's actually so good now, it's crazy. You have Husk and Scowling and just get to shrug off literally everything Uzuri wants to do. And she's never been above rate. That's not Uzuri's strength, and that's all Levia is. So Uzuri is not here to eat the Levias. She'd be here to try to eat the Lexis, and I mean, she's not that good into Briar, is she?
She's like, I think she's slightly favored into Briar, but it's a really
slightly
close
favored. Okay, I thought it was like maybe 60-40 on Briar.
It's really close. It depends on both players' builds, actually.
So what do you think then, Yanji? Where is Uzuri? I think for this weekend she's actually quite a good call though. Still.
I I think she's pretty bad. So you know how we said that this is like just like a deck where all the cards like work well together, but the cards just aren't good enough.
Hmm.
I think Uzuri is like a deck where not all the cards work well together,
And they're not good
Uh,
enough.
and sometimes they're good enough.
Sometimes. Okay.
Cause like you do have cards like Codex of Frailty, which is just like one card, like better than anything that a deck like Viserai does. So like Codex plus what's it called? Leave no witnesses. You're doing like some of the most powerful things in Flesh and Blood. And then at the same time, then you're also running like stealth attacks that don't like do anything when you draw like a couple of them together, or you're drawing into like your like 2 costs.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have attack reactions in there, like there's like a lot of moving pieces, and I think like in general, like the more moving pieces like your deck has, like the more inconsistent your deck is.
Interesting.
The Lexi matchup is also much different now because of the ice cards and lack of like fatigue tools.
Yeah, I think in general, Uzuri is a little bit worse into mid-range decks, and to me, it feels like it's moving towards like a mid-rangey format
Mhm.
where it's not all about like being like hyper efficient at the first like 1 or 2 turns. So I would put her probably like D tier
No.
or like bottom of C.
I think she's low B.
Yeah,
Do you think
there's no way she's that low. I still think, especially since we're talking about day 0 meta, like Uzuri into like decks that are playing like a little greedy, because I would figure that's how most decks are trying to play early, is quite good, because you're just disrupting their plan. Their turn now sucks worse than you're saying the Azuri's turn sucks, and that's just kind of where she wants to live. So I would say like maybe here, lower B then, lower B, not
I can
bottom
go
of.
for it.
I'm just here to piss people off. I would have put Uzuri in the D tier.
God. No, although you're absolutely right. I don't think she can live in A tier like I initially thought. That being able to hit Lexi well enough is not.
Yeah, it's also
it's
like
not what's
having
going to
a-
make her live there. She has her own
Yeah.
problems. Yeah.
Maybe if Lexi was an auto win, but
Yeah, that's true. I've definitely played games with Uzuri where you just never see your CNC or surgicals, and the Lexi just runs you over because you swapping in a death touch is like all you're doing.
Yeah.
They just don't
or
care.
they just play like an ice quake or an arctic incarceration, and then
Dude, do you see the copers in your chat? They're talking about playing take aim in Uzuri just so you can play
No,
like death touch.
I think they're talking about take aim in
No, you can't
Oh,
play
oh,
take
oh.
aim in Azuri anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
They're on a
they're
different
talking about playing it in
conversation.
Azalea because of the
Azalea.
bullseye racer thing. They're a little
I just can't.
Tier lists are cardinal sin against complex thought. This is just, well, I mean, it's obviously not well thought out yet because this is day 0. It's all just predictions. But the point is to go into Cincy with like some rough grasp of like what people are thinking, because there are other tier lists like Nathan's and Michael Hamilton's that have been all quite different. So that's all the point of just discussion around like what we'll see, and then Cincy will prove people right or wrong, and then Chicago will probably spin it all on its head anyway. So it's all just, it's for fun. This is not
It's just
definitely
gonna
not a definitive
S-
tier list.
Briar's gonna be
It's-
S in Chicago.
It's
That's
for
all
fun.
it is.
It's not definitive, but we're right, and if you disagree, you're wrong.
There you go. That's a Yanji take right there. You're learning.
You heard it here first, folks.
You're learning, Lucas. Okay, so then let's see. In terms of like more meta relevant heroes, before we start filling out the rest,
I feel
Bravo.
those two.
Although you're probably gonna say he's not meta relevant at
Yeah,
all.
I think these are like 2 of the worst heroes in the game.
Okay, no, but in terms of like hype from Dust Till Dawn in like reinvigorating like what these heroes had access to game plan wise, like Dorinthia as this fatigue axe deck, we do know a couple people who are taking it in some streams. Some people have been able to make blocking 9 and returning 4. That's going to be 5 value if you block. Seem pretty good, but that's really all the deck does, and I think that kind of deck just literally gets eaten alive by the A tier.
Dude, that deck was eaten alive by like playable
Probably
decks.
all of this too.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's like a deck check deck. Like,
Yeah.
did you
True
build
Yeah.
a working deck? If you did, then you can beat Dorinthia on the axe. If you didn't, then you lose.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that's how we should like go through all of our brews now. Is just like throw them in the ring against extra and see what
Yeah,
happens.
it's literally like a
Can-
training bot. It's
Can,
like if you
can you
can't
beat a
beat
10-turn
Dorinthia-
clock? Yeah. I don't think that deck is real at all into any kind of like established like metagame with like optimized deck lists, but because this is Cincy, it will take wins. But I don't
Ooh.
think it's an unknown quantity anymore. Like Nathan's been playing it on stream, a bunch of people have been talking about it. I don't think it's impressive at all. Like, but then again, I'm here, right? And like, I
Yeah.
want to see the defensive Katsu. I want to see the
But-
defensive Dorinthia. I want to see the Bravo. Like, just sit there and let me tell you a story.
No, put it in C.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just leaving it because I was
that's a
talking.
Disgrace.
No,
that's a
I think it's
disgrace
C.
to-
Yeah.
I
You're
think-
you're like instilling hope in all of the people who are
Yeah.
who wanna see Dorinthia do well.
You know,
Okay, what about Dawnblade though? Because those
was
are
gonna say-
two very different decks. So let's kind of hedge in the middle then.
I think Dawnblade Dorinthia is easily the more playable of the two, because I think reactive decks in this game are like fake, and the Axe deck is just a reactive deck that doesn't have disruption.
Mhm.
But Dawnblade is like a reasonable proactive deck. I don't really know what it's targeting though right now. Like I think this is a very poor meta for it. Like Carrion Husk is also just really really strong against that deck. Lexi is just a little too fast. I usually find. If you can like leverage your armor early against Lexi, you can win, but you just need a little too much time to get counters on Dawnblade. I think I'd put it in like C tier. It's like Fi, where like they're playable decks, but like the meta is bad for them, and they don't have like anything that separates them from the rest of the pack. So I think like Dawnblade Dorinthia is like low C tier, and the Axe deck is like training bot tier.
Interesting. I've never been a huge fan of Dawnblade Dori. I think it really takes like Josh Lau and like two other people to make that deck look impressive. But in theory, if Lexi lost bracers, right, does that not actually help you just outrace it? Because it's always been relatively close.
Well, Dori's weird as like a race hero though, because like your first 2 turns just don't do any damage.
No, she can definitely outrace Lexi, but like the problem is that like even if you think Lexi is the best deck, like the tournament's not gonna be like 80% Lexis. That's gonna be like at most like 1/3 of the decks are Lexi.
That's also a lot. For a battle hardened, I don't think it ever gets that high. People
Yeah,
have more
yeah.
fun.
So it's gonna be like what, like 20% Lexis. Like I think she just like, cause they haven't printed any like real new cards for Dorinthia. She just like kind of, you know, she's like kind of lacking.
They gave her
The
the arm
arms are
piece.
good, but it's only a marginal upgrade.
Do you think the arm piece is better than the other
Yes.
one?
I do. So like there are situations where Brayforge Bracers is better, but I think into like your average matchup they do like similar things.
I
maybe-
guess if
maybe-
you're playing Dawnblade, it is just
Yeah.
like it is better to just go like versus attack Dawnblade like naked, and then if they don't block it, then you get to like set up your next turn. Okay, I'm sold.
They
Dude,
also
sign me up. I'm a Dorinthia stan now.
no.
Put her at the
C.
bottom. Put her at the bottom of A.
What? Real? No.
No,
You
he's
can't have gone that far. I'd say top of C. Top of C.
uh,
I don't think the average Dorinthia does anything special with the hero. Is the unfortunate truth.
Alright.
Put her in A for the content.
No, I'm not giving Nathan the satisfaction, even if it's a joke.
Okay. Bravo. Now, we are probably gonna dump on Bravo a little too hard. But this is once again from the Levia perspective. I don't see this being a reasonable deck right now. But I don't think it's fair to really put him in C because he's still unique. In like out of any of the other decks here, a deck that can block well, a deck that can return disruption well, more consistently than Uzuri can. I don't think
So-
he actually deserves to be in C, but I don't like where he's at in what we've been playing.
Yeah.
I would probably put him bottom of B.
So it's like you look at all the good decks right now. This is like probably the best meta he's had in a while. Like he has a bunch of like, but it's still just like not good. Like the Lexi matchup is like winnable, but it's bad. The Briar matchup is like winnable, but it's definitely harder now that they have more armor block.
Yeah, they got the chess
The
piece.
Levia matchup is like unwinnable. Like we just
Correct.
go down the line. Like Azalea is a really good matchup. That is like I guess what you're targeting as Bravo is Azalea.
I think you can target Lexi too. But Bravo is like what are the decks that like beat Bravo historically? It's been like Fi and Briar and Viserai.
Levia.
Sure, Levia.
I mean anything slow.
Chain I think was pretty good into Bravo. I
I mean,
think anything that's like
anything
that's
that's
like
like-
kind of fast that has like big numbers, it's like really hard for Bravo to like deal with, especially after you like you can stuff like some of his turns with like D-reacts. But I think that one of the things that he gets from having the new what is it called?
Unity.
The Starstruck.
Yeah, like that card makes it so that any matchup where he is blocking like kind of big attacks, he has like more pivot turns than
Yep.
before. So like I played against the Bravo where I'm like forcing them to block, and then they have to block 2 cards, and then they block the Starstruck, and then they do like a 2-card like disable on me, I think. When I was playing Lexi. It's just like they're like I think any hero that has attacks for like 5 or 6, Bravo automatically is like a little bit better against them now.
Yeah, that's a great point because it is Unity only, so you get the pivot turn if you block with the 2 cards on the singular attack. It's not just blocking, across the chain. So that still puts him probably relatively weak to what he was at before with 5, but or the ninjas. But are they even really there?
Yeah.
I think
Bravo. The other problem with Bravo is like he's just super fair. So if you play into any other fair decks like Uzuri or Dorinthia, or I mean we'll talk about some more later, but like Rhinar, Icelanders, like any deck that like blocks a little bit and doesn't care about your on hits, like your numbers are just terrible.
No,
Yeah.
that's not true. Bravo's really good into Uzuri.
He's not. It's
what?
I guess
No,
I guess
he should be good into Uzuri. He just plays the weapon game and can fatigue Uzuri out.
It's so I've played quite a bit of that matchup actually. We can
Really? Oh, do
I'm
tell.
sure we'll do some testing for it later, but in my experience, if the Azuri knows what they're doing, the matchup is just terrible for Bravo.
I mean, how is it different than like Oldham playing Sledge into Uzuri?
So it's like you have Crown of Seeds and you have Earth React. That's like the main differences, obviously, but also like Oldham just had like more like good attacks. Like Tunic was such a huge advantage.
What's
I think-
stopping you from playing Tunic and Bravo?
I was gonna say, I think if your Bravo deck like changes, like you might have a good Azuri matchup, but like with current
like what if all you did is just put Tunic and Sledge in your deck?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
you probably get fatigue, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you would just get fatigued from my experience playing that. I did put a lot of time into Uzuri for, well, I don't know about a lot of time, but for me, 2 weeks on a hero, that's not Levia, felt like a lot. And yeah, the Guardians that just play the weapon game, I mean, they don't even need to slam you with on hits. Like no,
I mean
you don't
you
win
can
the
never
weapon game.
check actually.
Yeah. So yeah, but so then I ask the question: then what is Bravo actually beating right now? Not this consistently, not this consistently, not this freaking ever. Beats Azalea. Doesn't really beat a good Katsu.
I think
strong.
Bravo's weak into Katsu. I think Bravo is strong into like the field of unprepared players.
So I think
Yeah.
Bravo moves down a whole tier if you put pummels in your deck in every matchup.
So, but once again, we're talking like day 0, like into Cincy meta.
No. But I'm being real. Like I think like for like a day 0 format where people are going to be playing on optimized decks, I think like that's like the strength, right? Like
Yeah.
like the Bravo deck doesn't change at all. You're just like adding 3 cards.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I mean. Like he actually is stronger right now, but I don't think he will be as it develops.
I personally think he's like above Dromai, and then probably like he's like
He does
right
have a
above
good
Dromai, I think.
He does have a good Dromai matchup as well. That's like something we kind of glossed over.
Yeah,
but then
like he has a good Dromai matchup. I think he has like an okay Lexi matchup and
It's
like
fine.
an okay Azalea matchup. Like, but then like he gets like pluses against like all the people playing like random decks.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really hard for a Bravo to ever like win a tournament, but I think he could definitely like top 8 or like almost top 8 pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like you have him right now. I think it's like perfect. Where it's like he's kind of on the cusp of being like one of the strongest decks, but
I think as we see it solidify, he definitely drops down. But for right
dude,
now,
he'll be C tier by the end of
yeah,
the
yeah.
format.
For right now, he's a very safe pick. And he did get new cards, right? So I think for Cincinnati specifically, as far as like a day 0 meta goes, people will want to play him. They will want to play Starstruck, and they want to just like slam aggro heroes and make them not play their cards, which definitely sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
So yeah, he's. Oops, let's move him back here. I don't know if I really want to put him over Dromai specifically, because
He'll do
Dromai is
work.
still there to try to hit the Rangers a bit more than he can.
Mhm.
I would be a little bit more comfortable here, I think.
I'd go like that. I think that's the way to do it.
Okay. Boltyn. Lucas, you're a huge Boltyn stan for at least like that one day where you tried playing him. Where'd
Put
you
him
end
in
up?
D.
Still a stand. Still a stand.
Still a stan.
All right.
Stand him in the D tier.
All right. So Bolton's like this weird spot, right? So the Lexi matchup is like stone cold unplayable, right? Like it's unwinnable. You can't do it. They play ice cards. It's even more unwinnable. Like frailty tokens are terrible. And this is Raiden Boltyn, by the way.
Mhm.
I think Saber Boltyn is not the way to go because I think it also just gets stomped on by Lexi and doesn't really give you a whole lot of advantages. But there's like pure Raiden is really strong into slow decks. Things like Bravo, things like the Levia matchup's weird because they have so much armor block, but like Dori, even though they don't play attack actions, is usually I find pretty good. Dash, anything like that. But it's quite weak into like super aggressive decks like ninjas, Lexi, even Briar to a degree are pretty rough, especially if they have armor or non-attack actions to block 3. So he's kind of in this weird spot. I love him. He's so much fun, and he got like a bunch of really good new cards. But I think I'd put him in like high C tier, low B tier, just because like it's not a good meta for him.
I would say top of C for me. He's once again day 0. I think a lot of people are going to be trying him, but the unfortunate part of just like trying to slam Boltyn into an open field is that he like I don't know, he needs to live in a world where he's like eating certain matchups, like he's getting the +1 more guaranteed off of the blocks, and otherwise he can just falter in a race scenario because charging a card just does put you negative. I also don't think he beats, I don't know the Briar matchup into Boltyn, but I don't think he beats Levia consistently. It used to be the case where
I think Briar stomps Boltyn.
Stomps Boltyn? Okay. Because
I don't think it quite stomps it, but it is like if Briar, it's like all of Briar's matchups where like if you draw Channel Mount, you win, but instead of losing when you don't draw Channel Mount, like it's a game when you don't draw Channel Mount.
Yeah, when you don't draw Channel, you just like slightly win.
Yeah.
But his matchup into Levia, this is another matchup where Scowling Fleshbag is insane. It's another one where obviously Carrion Husk is insane. Also, Levia blocks a lot with her non-attack blues. And so like that pairs you up well, where you'd think that like you're kind of just slamming and racing each other. Levia can just stop a Boltyn turn like randomly because you're just blocking with the blue convulsions or like whatever it is. And then your spiky turns got more consistent, whereas like his medium turns got more consistent.
Oh yeah, can we put Fi at the top of C tier?
Oh, because Dan's in the chat.
Well, I'm fine putting him in C tier. I mean, I'd rather put Viserai where he is. I'd rather swap those two, but like he deserves the top spot. Yeah, there
We'll
we
move
go.
it down.
There.
We need to balance this out anyway. I hate I hate a super long tier. Okay, so more legitimately though, let's bump Viserai down here. Fi, I think this is healthy.
Yeah, I can get behind all this.
Okay. Riptide.
D.
Yeah.
He has. I tell you what, if Dorinthia and Dash were the best 2 decks in the format, Riptide would be the best deck. But Dorinthia and Dash are not the best 2 decks in the format. So Riptide.
Dude, Riptide is S tier for like the constructed like 8-person pod, like the very first one that fires.
yeah, dude. Yeah, no. It's like everybody's playing like Dori and Dash and like I don't even know what else. So everything else is hard.
Well, but there was hype around Riptide, obviously before we knew about the Bracers ban. Just going into a metagame without Oldhim. Riptide, in theory, had a lot to gain because he could target Lexi relatively well. And then if Dorinthia was going to get good, which a lot of people speculated because James White had mentioned Dorinthia was getting a spec. This is all like early speculation about Dusk Till Dawn. There was Riptide hype. I think a couple things killed that. Number one being the Bracers ban that hit Lexi really hurt this deck.
Interesting. I actually, the Riptide decks that I was finding the most success with were just playing Hornet, Sting, and Perch Grapplers.
Oh, for real? Because the Riptide decks that had results were like the red line just race. And Bracers was a huge part of that.
Yeah, well, the problem with those decks is, like, if you're not playing, like, a bunch of traps and, like, Death Touch, and, like, if you're not doing any of that stuff, like, you're just, like, infinitely worse than Azalea.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if you're going to put Riptide anywhere, like, different than Azalea, you kind of have to, like, play a different version of Riptide than that. And I think that's, like, the trap, like, the more trap-heavy version.
Interesting.
But, I don't know. I think he's like, fine. He's just so bad. And, like, also, it's like, he sees, like, marginal results, and nobody knows how to play against him, like, even remotely. Like, if people ever know what they're doing, like, you just lose your only advantage. Like, Uzuri and Lexi, for example, are, like, pretty good matchups if your opponent doesn't know what they're doing, but, like, if they've played the matchup before, like, it's terrible. It's so hard to win those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, speaking to what Yanji had said earlier about, like, inconsistencies in a deck, then Riptide really just still takes the cake for that, unfortunately. And on top of, that's a really good point, actually. Like, if you're trying to, like, target Lexi, if you're trying to be that deck, why not just play Azalea over it?
Yeah, I think it's just a little better at it.
Yeah, so I mean, we have to have something in D. This is a good baseline for D. Obviously, we can throw Arakni in there. That's just no question. That'll buff out the D tier.
So much fun.
Dude,
So much
I
fun.
was hoping for Arakni to get like some cards.
Truly,
Arakni
Yeah.
is like
they
so
mentioned-
close to being good.
They mentioned
deserve-
at the Q&A panel that there would be more Royals in the future to in theory make Arakni's specialization better, along with like new specializations at some point for Arakni. But they didn't
Every
get
year
any
there's a
support
new
in
Royal.
Dusk Till Dawn, like literally nothing, and it just remains
Dude,
why
he's
play
like
Arakni
so
when
close
Uzuri is
to
out.
being. He's like so close to being good. He's like so much, I think, of a better deck than Uzuri is, but it just has no power.
Yep.
Whole tier list is brutal. No love. Pat,
you
we
see-
literally put Levia in A tier. What are you talking about?
Pat's in here trashing the list. Travis fights dragons.
Dude,
The editor
whole,
for MNR also in here trashing the tier list.
Dude, the whole team.
Wait,
is in
how
here
similar
trashing
is
the tier.
how similar is this to what Michael Hamilton was doing? Actually, I feel like it was similar. Let me go back.
I don't know. He had some stuff that I thought was wild. Like his Viserai tiering was crazy.
Okay, he's got S tier is 2 heroes.
Mhm.
Lexi, Dromai. A tier, Levia, Viserai. Hell yeah, Levia even first
Oh.
place here. Viserai
He-
A tier, Azalea, Uzuri, Dash, Briar top of B, Bravo, Boltyn, Katsu. Interesting.
I will say
Boltyn's up.
he has Dorinthia in the right spot.
Yeah, and then Vynnset, Iyslander, Kano, Rhinar, Phi, and then he went hard down here on D. Prism, Dorinthia, Arakni, Riptide. So there's really some of the main swaps so far is he's considering a lot of the
I think he's
like kind of
a
these
little
like middle tier aggro heroes as a lot better
Yeah.
than I think we're saying they are. That's the main
Yeah,
difference.
I think potentially we're like a little low on them for Cincy. Like I think Phi and Viserai are like strictly speaking unplayable in like a real tournament, but maybe they're fine for Cincy because you just like win games sometimes. But
Yeah,
I think they're fine where they are though.
honestly, you're right. We are talking Cincy. I'm gonna put Viserai higher again because he did get that one new card that not the spec one, but the other one is playable.
The chest. Or
Oh yeah, I guess
the-
the chest.
the
no, I'm
nim-
talking
the
the
nimble- the
pump,
nimblism.
the nimblism.
Yeah, the pump's
So
great.
if we're looking at Dusk Till Dawn, he got a new card, a pretty card. People do like Viserai. People will want to play him.
Mhm.
He's not terrible. So there we go. He's back up. Give him a little juice, a little love.
I mean, of course he's D tier, but yeah, we can put him there for now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go Dash. Where
I-
the hell does Dash ever live? I feel like
I'm
she's just okay. But then you have some players who play her perfectly, and she's incredibly consistent.
Yeah, so she's like.
Dude,
It's like, is it even like a
she's
meta
D
thing?
tier now that they've printed meeps.
Oh yeah.
You can
Yeah,
Uzuri swap in a
it's-
Meeps, dude. It's over.
It's
Oh
reaping
my
time.
god.
Yeah. But I think Dash is like. I'd put her like above Dromai in B tier. I think she is quite strong. Like I think she is like 51% into Lexi or whatever. And then like the Briar matchup is just an aggro matchup. I haven't played the Levia matchup admittedly, so I don't know how that goes, but she's just like fine into everything.
I mean, it's weird. If Dash goes aggro into Levia, they risk just potentially losing to the Levia, legitimately being able to fatigue them. So I feel like the smart dashes go more mid-range into Levia, but if they do that, then Levia kind of likes that. So it's like almost a game of cat and mouse. I don't think the Levia players want to see Dash go full aggro, because that can put you on like a pretty tough clock when your hands like potentially are like non-block heavy, or just you can't like sideboard out enough. And the matchup gets weird. But if it's a mid-range game, then you just trade better than they do. It's a weird matchup. I think generally it's Levia favored, but it does depend a lot on like what Dash is doing.
How is Dash 51% into Lexi?
Dude, that was what I found, man. I mean, like PT testing, it was like 51% Alexi, and surely it's
Yeah,
like,
but I think because our PT Lexi lists were just trash.
dude, my PT Lexi list literally was like 3 cards off from the deck that got second at Birmingham or at whatever the European calling was.
Were you playing Winter's Bites?
Not yeah, I was playing blues. I wasn't playing yellows. That was like the difference. But I was on.
But that's a huge.
You were a Remembrance hater, and then Remembrance was the juice.
I'm willing to concede to take the L. Yeah, Remembrance is the juice.
I did it.
Yeah. I don't think for day 0 we're gonna see Dash doing anything special.
Oh my god, dude, I put Dash in D tier. D for Dash.
But she's consistent. People like her. The people who have played her are so insanely diehard for her because she's just gotten no good cards since. Well, I mean, I guess there was Harpoon, but like really Crucible, and it's just sat there forever.
She's also like solved. All these
exactly.
decks have to like evolve for like Lexi playing Ice and like Illusionist going up in stock and all these like new decks, but like Dash just can't. Like she has like 64 playable cards. Like you just choose 60 of them.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh,
well, so but is the loss of Oldhim enough to make her like? Just not a safe pick though. Like, because you're going to be forced into racing.
I don't know. She has like a bad Dromai matchup. I'm pretty sure she's like bad Dromai matchup, bad like Runeblade matchup.
It's not that bad. It's fine.
Dude, I am just hearing a lot of cope. This is also the same guy who's like swears that Tree Frog is playable.
Okay. Tree Frog is like terrible right now, but Tree Frog is just better Prism though. And if people are gonna play Prism, then that means Tree Frog's playable. We'll get into that later. With Prism.
Okay. I think I'm most comfortable putting Dash lower end of B.
Yeah.
She doesn't beat the Dromai. She should beat the Bravo, but yeah, I don't think enough of these are like guaranteed good matchups for her.
Yeah.
That she's really anything special. She's just like solid. She's fine. If you like her, you play her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just where she lives.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Rhinar. Now, yesterday there was some hot takes with Rhinar on Nathan's stream. Nathan put Rhinar literally up here. And the reasoning was because it can fatigue Lexi. Like
you think Rhinar's the best deck in the format?
No. But I have something else to say.
Go ahead.
Rock Rhinar, literally no one's testing it, and deck's insane. I'm like 8-0, whatever. It is a real deck. If all you play against is Boltyn and Vynsets, and okay, actually not even Prism, but if you have a tournament run that is just Boltyn and Vynsets trying to day 0 their builds, Rock Rhinar will go undefeated.
Dude, you figured out the.
He really might be top of A. It's actually totally possible.
You figured it out.
I think putting decks that, so like if if people really think that Ice Lexi is the best deck, and then you think that like Rhinar and Ninja and Dori are playable because they fatigue Ice Lexi, then Ice Lexi is not the best deck. like,
Yeah.
like if that deck gets fatigued by 63 blocks, like it's terrible.
Yeah. I really, I don't think Rhinar realistically does literally anything right
Yeah.
now. Like if you want to play a brute, there is a clear winner.
It's actually
in
it's actually
Levia.
kind of funny. I think Rhinar has like one of the best Lexi matchups of the decks that just like suck. Because you have access to CNC Pummel, and like Blood Rush turns like do stuff, but he's still pretty bad. But
Yeah,
I lost
it-
Chandler Toe on Rhinar playing Lexi at a Pro Quest,
Oh my god.
and that was gross.
So yeah, I also lost a Chandler Toe. I drew I forget the exact scenario. I believe it was I drew a non-block and just died. When
just
I
Codex-
played against him at Worlds.
Yeah,
It
I
sucked.
just played a Codex of Inertia and gave him a Blood Rush Bellow, but
But yeah, I just like Rhinar into anything mid-rangey, like just starts to fall. Like, he can't like race the hard aggro anyway. Like you do take those as just bad matchups, but then even mid-rangey stuff, you're gated by needing your blood rushes to play like any good rates. So it's just he's nothing special. I don't like him enough. The reason to play him last meta, the reason I won an RTN with him was just to target ult him. That was it.
Yep.
Like you took him because I want ult him to be free as hell, and I'll make sure that I take my losses and lick my wounds and get back to the game because all I'm here for is ult hims. So then you just hit the ult him top 8s and you just walk it. That's it. That was like the entire point of playing Rhinar. It's what I did at the Pro Tour. It's what I did at RTN, and like there, that's it. The ult him's gone. So like, what's the point? I don't see it. I don't see it.
Pat makes a good point in the chat. He says that every deck can play CNC Pummel, so it's not just
true.
that Rhinar has.
CNC Pummel Dash coming soon. True.
CNC Pummel 5.
So I don't think I actually want him in DD, but it's close. Like
We got another hero that'll go to D. It'll be Val.
We'll put him bottom of C for now. Then is fair. Okay, let's leave the two spiciest ones for last. The ones that don't have fancy art yet. All right, Iyslander. No one seemed to be too hot with her.
Yeah, so she's my favorite hero, and I love her, and she's so much fun. But she's really bad right now. Like the Lexi matchup is terrible. Warmonger's Diplomacy and the Bullseye Bracers ban just does not make it better. It's still just terrible. Like all the medium decks are just like okay matchups. Like Briar's a good matchup. I actually think Levia is like a terrible matchup.
I think it got a lot worse now. The builds used to be a little too delicate, and so Iyslander could just like force out a Stormstriders for like discard on Levia's turn or something if you led with Art of War, and you could just straight die. That doesn't quite happen anymore. So I don't think it's awful.
Dromai seems pretty bad too.
Yeah. Dromai is like better than people think it is, but it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd put her like above Boltyn because just by proxy, just by virtue of being like a super strong deck. Like the things that she does are powerful. She's consistent. She has like good stuff going for her. Arcane's good. Stormstrider's broken, but like her matchup spread is just really, really poor right now.
Like, what is she trying to see? It would be like trying to hit the Viserai, trying to hit the Briar.
Bad Viserais. You're looking for bad Viserais. Looking for Briars, and then you're looking for Bravos as well. Like Bravos, and I guess.
So she hits, like a solid third of what's up here, but yeah, it's not enough. I think C is fine. I would put her below Boltyn, but
I just love her. I want her as high as I can get.
Actually, I mean, she can more consistently win the matchup she's supposed to, I guess, over Boltyn.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little higher there makes sense. You like that, Yanji, or what?
No, I like that.
Okay.
I think she's just like too awkward into Lexi. But I mean, like you said, like the tournament's not gonna have like all Lexis. I think she's like pretty good into like the more mid-rangey decks.
Well, here's the real thing. We're talking about Cincy, and Michael Hamilton is on Levia. Okay.
Oh,
so
dude,
so then who is on Iyslander?
So Iyslander in D
who's
tier.
playing this hero?
Nobody.
Oh, whoa.
No. Maybe Mezzo. I don't know if they're going.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't think there's anything too special going on right now. But we'll put her here. She's still unique. She's She plays a unique game still. It's disruption. People hate it. She tilts people. That's valid. What about Kano though? Other wizard.
He like sucks.
Yeah, I think Kano's just bad. I think Kano's just like a bad hero.
Yeah, he is.
Kano, you know what, Kano? I've thought about this when you asked me to come on for like a one sentence to describe Kano. And Kano is a deck for players who don't want to play good decks. That's it.
What? Okay.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't have any like good matchups because all the good matchups you still just have to draw your combo. And then like you're also this deck where it's like you're pretty okay if everybody's just like not respecting you. Like you have like okay matchups, and then if people respect you, like you just can't win. Like if you play against Levia and they have like the tech
Grasp,
for you,
baby.
Dude, if
Like,
they have
Shroud
that,
and
then they-
grasp.
they just play two pieces
Or
of
not,
darkness.
whatever.
Like you
Yeah.
just can't win. Like you play against like Briar and they're on like Spell Void and like maybe like it's really rough. Like you play against Boltyn and they're playing the Spell Void 2 light cards. Like you like what do you do?
All right, but the deal is we're talking day 0 meta, right? And in a day 0 meta, no one does respect wizard is the problem. Or is it the
Ooh.
inverse of that, where no one knows what their sideboard is, so they just
I
throw
don't
in?
know. I think I think
Melvin's
you
I
just
usually-
throw in the AV.
Yeah.
Just throw it?
usually
Okay.
yeah, usually people start disrespecting arcane damage when
Yeah.
the lists get very tight.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
super fair. That's a better way to look at it. So then for this event, is he actually down here?
Dude, this
Sure,
guy's talking
day
about
0.
pitch stacking. This guy's talking about pitch stacking in your chat. Dude, pitch stacking is like ultimate cope.
Nah, don't okay, so
I
Yuanji
don't know,
is
man.
right
We
about-
make best makes it look pretty easy. Not
but
gonna lie.
don't listen to Yuanji's thoughts on pitch stacking.
Dude, pitch stack is fake.
It
Well,
comes up.
it's 'cause
Dude,
you
that's
just-
why you kept listening to Oldham's as Lexi.
It's because you
No,
just play
I
Sonata
can't-
decks. Look at you.
no,
You don't
that's
care
not
about pitch
true.
stacking.
All right.
All right. So for this, I think we'll put him here. But that's a great point. As lists get tighter, he can kind of know where he'll live. Like if the top decks just don't have room for AB, then he could easily be playable somewhere, like over here.
Yeah, he definitely gets better as like the format evolves. It's like a graph. It's like a linear graph. Like as the format gets like older, like Kano gets better. Like we even saw that last format with the LA Battle Hardened.
Yep.
Like
Majin making
Yep,
top
yep.
8.
Mhm.
Okay, now we've got the spicy heroes. Let's do Prism
Okay.
first.
so there are two Prism decks. There is the Prism deck that is bad Tree Frog Dash, and there is the
Okay,
Prism
no,
deck.
you gotta explain that to people.
Oh, yeah, so
we
it's
got
just-
over
so
200 people.
Iris-
They don't know what that
Yes.
means.
So Iris Prism is just bad Tree Frog Dash because you're this deck that like takes time out of your day to put permanents into play and then attack with those permanents for like slightly above rate attacks later, and then the rest of your deck is just like defense reactions and defensive cards. Unlike Tree Frog Dash, though, they can kill your permanents, and you start at 32.
Mm.
The advantage that she has is there's like two. The first one is just Arclight Sentinel. Like if, for example, let's say you like go first and you double aura, and then they kill an aura, and then you double aura again, and then you Arclight them. Like you're pretty far ahead. And then the other advantage is that you do have some permanents that are hard to let like stay. Things like Genesis, things like Shimmers. Against decks that can only attack you like once or twice. Like there is real value there. But like, God, she's just so bad against any deck that can do anything proactive.
Mhm.
Like if you're playing against like any sort of proactive deck and you don't exactly draw like a bunch of auras and then Arclight Sentinel, or like if your opponent just draws playable, like you just die. And not only that, but she also just has bad matchup spread right now.
Yeah. Because I mean,
Levia is like A tier.
yeah.
Like the matchup's unwinnable.
So, like, if you take Prism, what are you trying to hit? It's really just, like, the Bravo, the Azalea, maybe not even Azalea. They can probably just ignore you, dominate.
Yeah, if
That's
you want to see a
that's
fun
possible.
Azalea, if you want to see a fun Azalea versus Prism game, go watch Fino's stream VOD from the other day. It's a lot of fun.
Did he lose?
Everything was bugged. It's a lot of
Oh,
fun.
no. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so if
it-
you're taking Prism, it is mostly for fun at first. Because I don't think she wants to
No.
see almost any of this. Like, I
Uzuri.
imagine she wants to see, like, Uzuri, Bravo, I don't know on Azalea. I feel like you're probably fine seeing the Azalea.
You
And
want
that's
to see
like almost
Iyslander?
it. Yo, you want to see Iyslander? There you go.
Yeah, you want to see something like the Garbo heroes, but like
So that can't put her pretty
I think
much
she's the
anywhere
worst.
right now.
I think she's the worst hero in the game.
We're going
like,
all
right
the way
now.
to D.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think like
I think she's like right below Kano, above Riptide.
so it's like my problem with Prism, right, is like like her good matchups, she still kind of has to
No,
draw
she's
well.
under Riptide.
Like her good matchups, she still has to draw well, and then her bad matchups, like it literally just doesn't matter. Like it's just, oh my god, it's so bad. I think honestly, I think that there is a nut to crack, and I think that like playing some number of Heralds and Luminaris and Figments, like I think there's a list out there that is playable, but like currently the best way to play her is Iris, and it's just so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, it's so bad.
Dude, I'm convinced that the best way to play her is Iris with Heralds and Figments.
We did talk about
Just
that.
put
Yeah.
it
I
all
think
in.
that,
There you go.
I think that is kind of real, but
Yeah.
you need like a very specific list.
We'll see. Well, I
Yeah.
think since it's also day 0, right, and there's no obvious like broken way to play Prism out the gate,
Oh yeah,
this
there
anyone
won't be
who
Prism-
takes it to Cincy is going to just
Yeah.
get rolled.
there will not be a
pretty
Prism with a winning
unfortunate.
record.
No.
Like there's just no way that anybody has a playable list.
No. I mean, Fino's not going, and he'd be the one I had most faith on, like out the gate, because he's been brewing earlier than anyone else.
Fino's been dooming super
But
hard
he's
about
dooming.
Prism.
Yeah, but he is dooming, right? So that kind of speaks to that. Then we've got
Alright.
Vynnset, and this one's really awkward for me because obviously we've seen some good things come from the hero, like internally, but externally, I feel like it's still super janky. So it's a question of like, what build makes it out there?
Agreed.
And I think there are a couple ways to play this hero that are unexpectedly good.
Yes,
But is the general public going to play it that way? Almost definitely no.
Yeah, I think if people play the good builds of Vynnset, she's probably at the top of B or the bottom of A for me.
Yeah, no, truly. I would put her, if this was a developed Vynnset like list, if that's what we were trying to like rank here, of like a, not even Chicago probably, but like for national season, I wouldn't be surprised if she was higher. I don't know about like A specifically, but definitely top of B. She does some unique things. But for early results with this hero, I just don't see it happening.
So
Yeah,
one thing that I like to do when I'm evaluating whether or not decks are good is count how many like really strong cards that they have to like that like warp turns. So an example would be like Lexi has Codex of Frailty, 3 of a Kind, Codex of Inertia, Rain Razors, whatever, right? So you have up to like 12 cards that just like completely warp a turn like in your favor. And then like Briar has like Channelman Heroic and that's about it.
Meeps.
Meeps. Rosetta,
so-
every turn.
Yeah, so like every deck is like fighting to either like do one of these power turns or like have the ceiling on their like average turn be like much higher than the other decks. And I think that Vynnset has like in my mind at least like 6 like really good power cards. Like the yellow and blue widespread cards I think are just nuts. Like those cards are actually just like bananas.
Mhm.
Um
Also, like the thing about Vynnset is like she's a new deck, and like her main issue is consistency. Like that is actually just the easiest problem to solve with like good deck building and like practice. So
Yeah.
like the fact that she's already like like that's like the metric for, in my opinion, like when a new deck comes out, like seeing how it will evolve and like if you think it'll be good later. Like if she's powerful from the get-go and it seems like her problems are probably solvable, she's probably strong. And like literally her only like real problems are some hands are awkward and some hands are unplayable, which
Mhm.
both seem to a degree fixable with deck building.
Yeah, I do think though for the out the gate results, she's somewhere in C. I don't think anyone's cracked it who's actually playing it this weekend.
Dude, I might bust out the Vynnset depending on.
Oh, you
how
wanna play
my
Vynnset now?
dusted- I don't
You
know,
wanna
depending
play
on
the
how
list?
my dusted on polls go. I mean, I don't know if I'll play like the list, but I have some ideas about some lists.
There's
Okay, it's day 0. I think we'll see enough of her that maybe someone stumbles in and
Yeah.
plays her well and kind of has the run. And there's also the factor of like opponents. Maybe they're not putting in the reps on like Talishar because realistically, that's the only way to play against the new heroes. So you could just have that advantage where just no one's seen to play against her yet. And that can definitely get you a bunch of free wins because she's a deck with real interaction, right? It's not like Boltyn getting new cards where if you didn't play a test into Boltyn, it's not like he's doing anything that different than he was before. Vynnset being an entirely new hero, playable new hero with real disruption effects, I could see her...
I think bottom of B is where I would put her.
Bottom of B.
Just because I think like her average conversion rate is going to be abysmal, and then there will be like a couple people who have playable decks, and then there will be nobody who has a good deck.
Yeah. All right, I do want to point out I really don't like clumping B this much. Let's try to move at least 2 heroes, like one up, one down.
I think you can put Azalea and Katsu in A tier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
That's much healthier.
Yeah.
And it's too easy to just dump things in the middle and
Yeah,
and
I
call
think
it
if
good.
we had like a tier 1.5, that's where I'd put like Azalea, Katsu, and Dromai.
Yeah. No, truly, it should have been like an F tier. I forgot to set that up, and then like everything would have gotten shifted.
Yeah,
a
we
little
can
bit.
just put Viserai in the F tier and just like leave everything the same.
No, this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this.
My boy
Now,
Arakni just stifled.
yeah, they're it's just not their
Arakni's
day.
not the worst hero. Prism's the worst hero. Come on now.
Really?
Arakni wins
No.
plenty of games.
No, but there's actually just no reason. Is that a real metric? Like, there's no reason to play Arakni over
Ooh.
Azuri.
Dude,
Does that
you're
actually
getting
make
me
them the
with my own
worst?
game logic. I use this argument all the time. This is devastating.
What is the argument?
I mean, there's like no reason to play him. He's just worse than Azuri, or they're just worse than Azuri. I think that they have like a good enough reason to be played over Azuri because
I think
for hardcore
Arakni is
fatigue.
better at mid ranging than Azuri is.
All right, fine.
Yeah,
Everyone happy? Jesus.
we did it.
Okay. I'm pretty happy with this. This is about what I had in my head for top 8 predictions, because that's the second part. So here we go, people. Keep this in your head. Actually, let me just screenshot
mine
this.
written
I'll pull it into the next screen here. So now in terms of actually making top 8 predictions, unfortunately, I can't be playing. So now I have my doubts about Levia's actually making
No,
it.
it's
But
fine.
Lucas is there, Pat is there, and Michael Hamilton is there
Yeah.
on Levia. So that's enough like insanely good players behind in a now insanely good deck. Like, not even kidding. So we're going to make top 8 predictions and just go quick. Oh shoot, I don't have... Oh, there's Levia. I truly think we're going to see 2 Levias. I wouldn't... I really wouldn't be surprised to see more. Like, really. I think she, from the gate, has just like some pretty obviously good cards to add in. And even though the deck list might not be refined, she doesn't just like lose to an unrefined deck anymore. Because at least Consumed and Redeemed is just a new, as LSS calls it, sip piece. Starts in play, stays in play. So because that has just been like slapped on her hero, even if there are some inconsistencies in the deck, her biggest power is just there, in play. You can play for it, you play smart, you get the flip, you win your game off of whatever win con you're setting up, like some giant dominate, some wide blood rush, value grind, whatever. So I'm gonna start pretty bold, maybe even 3. I won't get that crazy. I do think we'll see a Dromai also making it. A Dromai that is really hitting the Ranger bracket, like should have a pretty easy time to just make top 8. I wouldn't be too surprised. Where's Katsu? There he is. I'm gonna say a Katsu and Azalea. I mean, this is like maybe a little too safe.
Okay.
I would probably do this. This is my top 8.
Interesting.
I have my top 8 written in front of me.
Okay. I'm just saying,
Right,
Lexi.
so-
Okay, yeah, go for it. Let's just drop it, then we'll talk. What's your top 8?
Okay, so what I have literally written down right in front of me. So copy your list and then turn the Azalea into a third Lexi.
Ooh.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. It's the whole difference.
You're guessing one more Lexi.
Yep. I think there'll be 3 Lexi because I think the best players should be on Lexi if they're not on Levia. And then even if your list is just medium and you play at medium, you can get a top 8 pretty easy. I think the other thing that I would say is like my outside pick, like I think the wild card, is what's his face? Where is he? It's I had him in my head. Oh, Azalea. Yeah, sorry. The deck that you had. I think Azalea is like my wild card. I think we could see an Azalea top. And then maybe like a dash, I think would be like my other thing, just because she's so consistent.
Yeah, I could see. I think my other dark horse is actually a Bravo. I think if not a Dromai here, or maybe like if not one of the duplicates, maybe a Bravo makes it.
Can I say like not Dromai? Can I just say Mara?
Okay, Mara.
Like,
Mara is
yeah,
going to Cincy.
Yeah, my prediction is like Michael Hamilton, Mara, and then like Levia, Briar,
There we go.
Katsu, Lexi's.
Yeah, Mara is going to Cincy, so I think that's a shoe-in. So Brody isn't playing either, is the other big thing. So actually, maybe Azalea can't make it. If Brody's not playing Azalea or Lexi, then this might be wrong.
What's Levi playing?
That's a good question. Levi might be.
He seems like a Levia player.
No. I feel like Levi might be trying to crack Vynnset in secret. That's kind of that's like a min-max move, you know.
He seems like a closet Levia player.
Closet Levia? No.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
He's the
There are other Levia players out in Chicago. It's not Levi, but like John could probably do it. I don't think he's playing at this one though. He's too busy with Chicago prep. All right, Yanji, what's your top 8?
2 Levias.
Damn! Oh, look at all this Levia truth and
1 Dromai. 2 Briars.
Cope.
1 Lexi.
Whoa.
1 Bravo.
Yep, I think that's fair. Vynnset, say it. Katsu.
It depends if I'm playing Vynnset or not. I'll throw
you don't
Katsu.
think you're one of the Briars?
I mean, we'll see. No, I'm probably gonna play Briar. Throw a Katsu in there.
Katsu? Okay. Interesting. I think automatically the hero that we're like straight missing from placing anywhere that I could totally see happening are probably these 3.
I honestly think Dori is one of the worst heroes.
No, but like taking the fatigue deck and just like running the gauntlet of people who just don't get it yet is probably possible. Like you could easily start 4-0. I could see that happening. You just start 4-0, you come in.
No way.
Yes.
I believe in the people.
You believe in the people? You believe in
I'm a man of the people.
Okay. Delete Dori. I think if a Runeblade would sneak in.
I heard Michael Fang might play Briar.
Okay, so then he's the Briar, and then you're the Vynnset.
So -1 Briar.
I think it might not be double Levia. I don't know how many people are necessarily going to be playing it. I know like of 3, right? And I would have pretty good expectations on probably 2 of the 3 people making it, to be fair.
That's my thing. Yeah, I just have so much confidence in those 3 players because I'm a cocky little guy.
No, but it's true. I think like you will play it well. Pat will play it well. Michael, I don't really know because he's scooping the Lexi matchup. But if he figures it out, then there you go. Like I truly think 2 Levias is very possible with the quality of player that we know is going to be on the hero. Not to mention other people who have also put in time. Like Illegal Levi is legit, man. 2 years of playing this hero, and there's been a lot of people just like put off because she kind of sucked. But they had the time, they had the reps, and so even someone we don't know who's just been waiting in the wings for Levi support could just show up and do it because we are a dedicated base, base. So I think 2 Levi is a very safe call. But if one of the Runeblades was going to sneak in, I would say it's almost over. Yeah, like
over the Azalea.
I think it's over the Azalea on my list. Yeah, it could be. Over
I think
this
over
one.
me, it would probably be over the Dromai, but
yeah. So some flexibility, but we seem to be pretty much in agreement across the board. The double Levia, like I almost want to put money on it. I feel it. I feel it in my bones that we get a double Levia top 8.
I'm just terrified because she's still like new, but I do think like I think the list
we just gotta all play Dori, Great Axe Dori.
I do think that
put the people to the test.
The list that Pat and I are gonna play is gonna be pretty good, and then I trust Hamilton to play something good. So
something good. All right. Well, that's it. That's predictions for what we're gonna see at Cincy. Obviously, I will be bringing the coverage to everyone, so we'll get to see it live in person and basically catch it all as it unfolds. Let me plug that again. It is gonna be not on the Vynnset channel. I have a different channel
Cincinnati is this week.
Yeah, it's this weekend, Saturday. I have a different channel for the broadcast now because it's finally become its own thing. It's an LLC with Nathan from Savage Lanes News. So we have our own thing going now. Battle Hardened, Cincinnati, scheduled. Go ahead, turn on that notification on Savage Feats. And we'll be doing coverage with Sam O'Byrne and Brody Spurlock in the booth as casters. It's going to be a great day, full of little segments and fun and amazing games and amazing players on amazing heroes. So pretty stoked. That's all coming to you this Saturday. So that was it. Hopefully you all enjoyed the stream. I have to actually get back to work on some Cincy stuff. So we're calling it.
Real quick.
Yes.
Real quick. Don't forget, Fabled Runaways, we're going to be there, and we're going to take it down.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
With the best team of the land.
Yep, we've got Fabled Runaways coming out in force. When I initially said, hey, who's going to Cincy? No one answered. And then as we got closer to the date, everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm going to Cincy. I'm going to Cincy. I'm going to Cincy.
Yeah, there's 3 of us.
Yep, so there you go. Whole contingent. And none of you split a room with me. So there we go. That is it for the tier list. The top 8 predictions. It was fun. It was fun, everyone. Last plug. Check this out. We got Levia merch finally in the house.
Oh shit.
Look at that. On the Vynnset merch shop. Nothing is actually like branded for me. It's all just Levia stuff. But finally got the shirts in and they look freaking sick. So you can always choose the pickup option and just meet me at any event that I'm going to and save on shipping because shipping sucks right now. I just paid $30 to ship something to the Netherlands. It's awful. But there you go. That's it for the stream today. I will see you all in Cincy, either through your, YouTube, as I'll be bringing you Cincy coverage, or in person at Cincy. It'll be a lot of fun. Can't believe Levi's on top, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you this weekend.
See ya.
Woo! Step, arms, spin. What? Woo! And slide and tango. 1, 2, 1, 2.